Live. Hi, I'm McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today we got writing a letter to your ex. Does it work? I've actually had a few clients send in this question recently. We'll unpack that fully. We'll unpack this question with some questions, actually, because this one comes up a lot. I've talked about it in other videos. If you've been on YouTube enough, you've seen it other places. And we'll review a couple other videos that have done that. But we'll fully unpack this topic. Then I have a few other things to get into that were questions from clients. And if you have a story you want me to unpack, send it into writemac.com. So let's get into it. So this is just something that comes up a lot, all the time. And people always think their circumstances are different. And you know why they think their circumstances are different, B?
Why is that?
Because they are.
Okay.
Because perception's everything.
Right.
So they'll be like, I know I shouldn't do it because I'm in no contact, or I know they're with someone else, but I really want to send them this letter. And usually the ironic thing is it's not a letter, it's an email or a text.
Right.
So the funny thing about that is, like, a letter's more romantic. There's handwriting, right? Yeah. There's a difference there. So I'm going to take a different approach to this question than I've done before, rather than, and this is a lot of what I do in my coaching, to be honest with you, is ask good questions, because then you can come up with answers that work best for you, or where you're not realizing where you're wrong. And the best way to figure out things a lot of times is with proof of your own answers. It's like if you went to, I heard this a while back, for a parapsychology event, this speaker was talking about, you could show data on ghosts or paranormal activity, if you will. You can show what would be some sort of proof, right? But people are still skeptical. You know why, B?
Why is that?
Why do you think? If I was like, look, I got all this data on ghosts. This is Halloween, so this is where I'm going here, right? We have all this data on ghosts. We have research. We have these readings of the air that can tell you that something's off here, and I'm going on and on about it. And you're like, yeah. I mean, just before I even go deeper with this, do you believe in ghosts?
Not really.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I come up with all this data, and you're listening, and
Yeah.
and I'm a doctor, I'm a PhD, I have all this stuff, or I don't have a PhD, I just have all this proof. But you're like, yeah. So what would make you believe that there were ghosts?
I guess if you saw it with your own eyes.
Exactly. Exactly. So the people that, go to those things are, I've seen a ghost before, I have one in my house, right? So
Right.
it's the same kind of thing. It's the same kind of thing with this. People get into this story writing. I'm going to write a letter, and the theme that's usually, I want closure. It's like, well, you're going to write a letter, and if they reject you, but here's the part you don't get. If they reject you kindly, if they reject you, you know what? I really appreciate you writing me this letter and this story, but no, I'm going to have to pass. Would that really make it that much easier? I don't think so.
Probably not. No.
But so that's what's in your head. Really, the real thing is, when you talk to people, they're bullshitting themselves. They're saying, well, I just want to write. You're writing it for you. Period. You're writing it for you. You somehow believe that this is going to grab the person back in because it's the most drama. You've seen it in a movie before. It's kind, it's sweet, and that'll win the day.
And it worked in the movie.
Or in the Disney cartoons.
Or in a Disney cartoon.
Yeah, I'm with you. But it's not going to work for what you want. So, going through these questions in the comments, like I said, writing a letter to your ex, does it work? First, identify what it means to work. A lot of people, like I said, they're just lying. I just want closure. I just want to show them that I'm better, right? If you've been together 5 years and you built a case of who you were, maybe you were not a very good partner, maybe you were gone for 6 months but told them you'd be back in 3 months. The list goes on. You're not going to write a letter and make it disappear your actions of 5 years. It's like, that's a big one for people. It's like if I write this letter, then I can explain to them how much I changed. Well, I mean, if you did 5 years of work and then someone comes, you know what I mean? If you were some guy that I went to high school with and you were a big bully and used to steal from people and you come to me, you know, and you're like, hey man, I've changed. Yeah, it's been 20 years. I might believe you. It's been 20 years since I've been in high school. Sure, man. Great. I'm still going to think you're still an asshole until we hung out for a while, right? Then I'd be like, oh, he actually did change. But if you wrote me a letter and he was like, hey man, sorry I stole your car when we were in high school. I've really changed. I'd be like, whatever, dude. I'm over it. You're still an asshole in my book. And that's the thing. People put a lot of feeling and emotion into writing it. But sometimes someone will be at a red light, they're sipping their latte, they're late to work, and then they read your text and they're like, oh God, timing. That's the other thing that gets lost in writing your letter, timing. So you send your letter over, you're like I said, because it's not like you wrote it. It's not in the post. I don't think anyone writes in the post anymore. It's very rare, right? Now, I'm going to talk in a moment about the special circumstances of writing a letter. Now, that's the part that's the hardest part. And this is what people always do. They write it, and then they send it, and then they'll tell me, oh, I feel so good. I'm so glad I wrote it. I don't care what happens. I just wrote it. I've been thinking about doing this for a while. I just wanted him to know how I feel. I wanted her to know how I feel. I wanted him to know how I feel. I feel great. I've gotten these emails before. I'm like, good for you. Now, once you've written your letter, whatever you've written, it's done. It's crystallized. You can't really take it back. You can erase, but here's the part that really starts to eat at people. They read it, but they didn't respond. What do I do now? Well, that's part of writing a letter or writing a text or writing an email. That's the part you don't think about before you send it. You don't think, maybe they won't respond for 2 days and have me biting my nails for the next 48 hours thinking, why didn't they respond? That's the part you don't think about, right? You don't think about all the different possibilities that once you write this letter that could be fucking negative. Mm-hmm. You're just thinking, and then a lot of times I'll tell people, well, what's the best case scenario in writing this letter? And they'll literally be like, well, I don't know. I just kind of want, I'm like, let's just put the closure beside. Mm-hmm. What's the best case scenario? They show up to your doorstep in the rain, begging you back, have incredible intimacy, lovey, kissy. Oh my God, I'm so glad you conveyed this to me. I've been waiting for this kind of letter. Is that something? Well, I don't. And then they'll go, well, I don't think that's gonna happen. What the fuck's the point, man? Because that's what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? So let's just go through this real quick. You're thinking about it, and these are just good questions to ask. Right? These are good questions to ask. And I'm going to tell you right now, spoiler alert, here's the alternative to writing the letter. If you're going to go and write the letter, if you're going to break no contact, whatever your situation is, and sometimes, a lot of times now when I coach people, go ahead and break no contact. Just know the consequences. Is it possible that breaking no contact, quote unquote, works? Sure. But can you handle being rejected? That's the big part, right? Like, are you strong enough to not go from, oh yeah, this is going to be a good idea, to zero, to ground zero, where you're like, oh my God, they rejected me again. So the alternative to me is, if you're thinking of writing a letter, better just to call or text them and say, hey, did you want to get a bite to eat? Hey, did you want to meet up? Because if they reject you for that, at least it's not pity seeking. At least it's like present moment. At least it has an opportunity to go somewhere. But you think if I write this big, heavy letter, it'll mean so much more. And then people, like I said, they act like, just want to get it all out there. But just realize you're writing the letter for you. So here's the questions. Number 1, why are you writing your ex? Before you send it, why are you writing them? And just be honest. Just had a coaching session yesterday. About 7 times my client said, to be honest with you, and I always go, that'd be nice. Because how many times when you talk about your breakup or your relationship are you not being honest with yourself? You don't even know it. Subconsciously, you don't want to show your cards. And really at the core of everything, if someone said, what's the common theme, Mac? People are hurt, but they don't want it, especially men. I'm hurt. They don't want to say, she hurt me. It hurt me. It's more like I'm angry. Or she needs to know what I'm going to do and we're going to fix this. It's like, until you realize that hurt part, because if you send the letter and you're hurt, you're probably going to be more hurt by the response, unless it's flowers, cards, a candy, rose petals, and wine glasses.
Well, it can be embarrassing to guys to show, those emotions.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, that's why I'm a coach. Come air it out to me. I've heard a lot of guys, I'm kind of embarrassed to cry. Go ahead and cry in front of me. I don't mind. I'll laugh with you. There's no audience here. It's good to cry. As a man, maybe you want to do it in private so you can get it all out. That's fine. So the first question you ask before you send this letter, why are you writing your ex? And if the answer is closure, why do you want closure? If the answer is, I just want to say sorry, why do you want to say sorry again? Now, if you never said sorry, that might be a reason for whatever it is, and you did something really bad. Next question, and these are in the comments, folks. Are they the kind of person that likes letters? Sounds like an obvious question, but I bet no one's asking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they a writer? Would they appreciate your wordsmith? Like, there's some clever people out there. There's some people that are very clever with words and the way they put things together.
Sure.
And so this might be a reason to do it. But are they someone that reads romantic novels, or would this really resonate with them? This is where people get shit wrong, and this is why I do coaching, and this is why I keep coming back to get tailored advice. Get advice for your situation, because it's like, are they the kind of person that would receive this well? You should know. And if you really ask yourself, right, B, there's some women you've dated and you're like, yeah, they wouldn't care that much. You could write a fucking, 16th century poem that's so romantic, Shakespeare-like, and she's like,
reads the first line.
Right. And it's like, oh, thank you. Ha ha ha, LOL.
Right.
And you're like, what?
I just poured my heart out.
Yeah, because you study 16th century literature and think you're a romantic, and it just doesn't resonate with her. So are they the kind of person that likes letters or long-winded feeling-based thing? If it's like if it's your ex-girlfriend, she's highly independent, she doesn't show her emotions a lot, probably you pouring out your emotions, saying sorry 15 times and all that stuff, doesn't mean it's not bad, but she might even feel guilty that she just doesn't feel that way.
Like, has no feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
So, and you're like, I can't believe she's like this. Well, you already knew she's like that. That's her personality. That's what it's, you know what I mean? Next question. And this is the fucking biggest one. If anyone's taking notes out there, put a star and a check next to this one and circle it about 15 times, because this is the one that comes up again and again. Are you just going to apologize again? So if you cheated, if you stole something, these are the big ones, right? If you did something really bad to the person, or you called them a name, or worse off, and this sounds like, really, Mac? You called their mom a name? Like, there's people, I'm like, you said that about their mom? Jokes aside about mama jokes, right? Remember when you were a kid?
They just try to dig in.
No, they'll just say something like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you said that about their... Well, that's true. Their mom's a bitch. I was like, what? You just don't say that about people's family, right?
Yeah.
So you did something really wrong, right? And you already apologized. So if you never apologized, maybe you're going to air it out here. But if you already apologized and you're like, I just want to apologize again, it's pity seeking. And you somehow feel like it's going to be a shortcut to their heartstrings. Happens a lot, though. People do this all the time. I'm like, what'd you write? It's like 5 sentences of I'm sorry for this, I'm sorry I did this. It's like, here's what happens, right? Someone comes to me and does something really bad to me outside of a breakup, right? Is there anything that's been done really bad to you, B, that you want to share? Highly humiliating? You can just tell us about it. No one cares. You're not on camera.
Give me a second. Let me think.
All right,
I
so
won't be
like
shy.
let's just say someone did something. You're like, dude, like I can't, like, someone's done something to you before. I'm gonna try to think for a moment. Think of something where someone's really like hurt your feelings. Where you're like, damn, dude, you would do that?
I mean, it would have to be a close friend, right?
I'm thinking back
Or
of
family.
I'm thinking back of a situation when I was in high school, and there was this friend of mine. I used to give him rides home because he used to live in my neighborhood. He was a couple years younger, and he was a friend of mine. We worked together. We ended up being really cool. You know, in high school, to me, you get friends with people and like this is your good friend for 6 months.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Maybe
for
some people are like, no, I had the same 3 best friends that lived on my street.
Like you're on the basketball team together or something like
right.
whatever.
And you just get cool because you work together and you like hang out for 6 months. It was like one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, this dude's cool. And I had heard he was a little shady about stealing, right? And so he had a CD player. And this is how fucking old I am, a Discman, right, in high school. And he's like, oh my God, the Discman got taken by the teacher, and she said I can't have it back. And I'm like, the teacher took it and didn't give it back. He had this long story about it. And I'm like I said, this is a friend of mine. This is a friend of mine. So he has the Discman, and he's like, yeah, the teacher took it and said I can't get it back, and all this. And this is a long story, right? And I believed him, and I didn't make a big deal out of it. And then another friend of mine that knew him better was like, he lied to you, dude. He sold it. Right? And I was like, what? So that day he comes to the car. He's like, hey, man, can I get a ride home? I say, yeah, no problem. Memoirs of a Young Coach. Right?
Yeah.
And this dude was, he's a bigger guy than I was and everything like that. So it was like, I'm gonna fight him. Or it wasn't even my approach. Like, I'm not gonna fight him. We were friends. So I'm like, hey, man. So the teacher took the Discman and stuff, and he's like, yeah. And he went on with the story. I said, you want to tell me the truth? And he's like, what do you mean, man? What do you mean? Yeah. What do you mean? I'm like, I know the truth, dude. I know you sold it. And he's like, who told you? Who told you that? Who told you that? Right away. Who told you, though? Who told you, though? I'm like, it doesn't matter who told me. It doesn't matter who told me. You want to tell me the truth? He was in fucking tears. He was in tears, dude. Because I just kept... Yeah. I was like, you really did that, dude? Like, why would you do that? He was in fucking tears. He was he was like embarrassed and shamed. And I just wouldn't let him get out of it until he finally admitted it, right?
Might have been the first time that he got called out on the bullshit, too.
Now I never looked at him the same. Like, as a friend, you always got to watch him. But I didn't ignore him or never talk to him again.
Right.
I just was like, this guy's shady. He's a fucking thief, right? Yeah. And I already knew that he had done that to other people, so it shouldn't have been a surprise. But when you're 16, 17, you don't know that. You don't get fucking histories on people. So, but here's the thing. If he comes back to me like 2 years later and is like, hey, man, I just wanted to let you know, like, I'm so sorry for taking that Discman, I'd be like, why'd you even bring it up? Why would you ever bring it up? You already cried in front of me and said sorry. That's enough. I mean, he was, like I said, because the way I handled it, I looked at him sincerely. I was just like, why would you do that, man? You really did that? He couldn't go nowhere. He was in my fucking car.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? The way I asked it to him. Now, here's another one. This happened to me like 2 or 3 years ago. I think I talked about it in a live stream. Maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I was here in Thailand playing basketball with our mutual friend. And we'll just call him Chris.
Okay.
Right. And we're at the courts, and I fouled the guy hard, but not in a way that I would think would be, let's get in a fight or something like that. To me, but I mean, I guess I play a little bit more physical. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe people have different standards.
Right. So he like fell. He was a shorter guy. I'm 6 feet. I'm not a big guy, but I'm 6 feet. Or 6 foot, excuse me, whatever you want to say. And he's probably 5'5", right? Probably 5'6", smaller guy. Hence the reason I went for the block. Okay?
You could get there.
Right, yeah. So it wasn't like I wasn't playing the ball. So I went for the block. He falls down. I don't even think anything of it. I just walk away, right? Kind of hard foul or whatever. And I turn around and the dude's fucking charging me. Throws a haymaker.
What?
Like a you know what a haymaker is? When I say a haymaker, it's like when someone just throws a wild. It's not like let's go. I just turn my head. He like this.
It's a wind up. Yeah.
And like that, right? So he comes around and I go like this instinctively and he hits my back. So it's kind of like if I ran towards you and hit your back and honestly didn't even hurt. And everyone's like, oh God, like there's 10 people on the court holding him back.
Yeah.
Fucking Mighty Mouse, right? Little Scrappy. Let me at him, right? And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm all right. I'm fine. There's not even a bruise on my back. Right? And like I said, not a big guy, but a lot bigger than this guy. But all his friends are at the court. I have one friend there. Right? So I know the scene. And I'm not even pissed. He didn't even connect. I was like, I already told you I was sorry about the foul. And I just let it go. And everyone was just blowing up the situation. Hey, man, calm down. Telling him to calm down and stuff. I'm like, I'm fine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a mosquito just fucking bit me or something, It's like, it doesn't even hurt. After the game's over, people are coming up to me, you okay? You okay? It pissed me off. Yeah, I'm fine.
Like,
it's making it worse. Yeah. I already said it's cool. The guy swung on me. He didn't connect. He didn't hurt me. I'm over it. I'm fine. Like if he would have hit me in the face or something, then we probably would have fought. Right? Everyone keeps like, are you all right? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
Was he you think he was trying to hit you in the face?
Oh, yeah.
So he just missed.
I don't know. I just, like I said, it was a rage thing. He got off the ground and ran towards me. I found out later on, he was a little bit older than me, that he was like a leader of that group and stuff like that. Like a little Napoleon thing. And I was like, whatever. Like I said, I wasn't scared. I wasn't upset. I didn't even have the emotion involved. All the emotion was on his end. Like if he would have hit me in the nose or something, yeah, we would have probably fought.
Yeah, fuck that. If I was there, we would have thrown down, man.
Well, my buddy Chris was like, he got it. You know what I mean? He's like, come on. Like, what are you guys doing? I'm like, it's fine. It's fine, bro.
I would have
because it didn't hurt me. My point is when you're sending us a letter to your ex and you got all that emotion and they don't.
Yeah.
Think about that. That was my whole point. It might have been long-winded. Do you get me, though?
Yep.
It was like, everyone else is like, oh, shit. The guy's like, you fouled me. And I'm like, whatever, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
it's all good.
if you smacked, you tapped me on what felt like a tap on my back.
Right.
Like, who punches and lands their punch on someone's back, right? And so, everyone, you know what I mean? And then after the game, you all right, man? You okay? He got you, huh? No, he didn't get me at all. Or else we'd be, you know what I mean? Again, he didn't get me. My point is you send your letter to your ex and they don't have feelings about it. You're going to be like, I know you're upset. I know I hurt you. Actually, I have a new boyfriend. Actually, I have a new girlfriend. Oh, but I just wanted to say sorry. Great. I appreciate it. I'm over it. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing there.
Right.
There's nothing like that's the worst case scenario. And you're like, no, you must be hurt. Same thing happened to me at the court. You okay, Mac? You sure? Yeah. Fuck, dude, you're the seventh guy that asked me. Now I want to punch you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, right? Yeah. So I get to the point where you get these letters. Hey, they might be, especially if they broke up with you. Oh, yeah. And especially if they're seeing someone else, and especially, I've always said this, if they're attractive, have some things going for them, they're not in a shitty place, it's been 6 months, 8 months, they're seeing someone else probably. And it might be good for them. So when you send the letter, you send the thing, and you're thinking, oh, I'm pouring my heart out, that's good timing for you. Just like when this dude threw the punch on me on a surprise fucking attack, right? I just went like, just bob my head over here. He hits me in the back, like over here, and it's just like,
what the fuck? Like,
not even a bruise on my back, right? It was like a pitter patter. And I'm thinking to myself, everyone's oh, right? And afterwards, like everyone's pushing him to the side. It's like, let him go, dude, if he wants to charge me again. I don't care. I wasn't scared of him, right? But everyone else is giving it this weight. He's giving it weight. Oh, you fouled me. Oh, yeah. It's like, yeah, what would you do if all your friends weren't here, dude, and you were solo? Right? Let's see what happens then. But I digress. My point is, if you're going to apologize, you're going to make it a bigger deal. If you do something wrong to me, we don't talk again. You stole a CD Discman for me. You know what I mean? And we had it out, and you bring it up again. You're just resalting an old wound that I already let go of. I already made, and I'm always gonna think of that guy as a shady thief because of what he did. Oh, I changed. Maybe 20 years later, but like in that day, you're a thief, bro, and a liar. Now, I could sit there and tell everyone. I could go to the principal's office, or I could just go, yeah, never again. But I took it a step further and just like asked some deep questions to his face. And like I said, he started crying because he was embarrassed. Now, writing a letter to your ex, does it work? Next question, ask yourself. If you get rejected, can you handle it? A lot of times people will, well, I mean, if you're nervous while you're writing the letter before you text it and you're like, I sent it. I sent it. And you're like, you're having to stay busy as you're waiting. Bad move. Bad move, dude. And like I said, people have done this before. They go like this. They'll go, oh, I sent it and I feel so much better. It's like, stay tuned. So I had one client do this, right? He had been telling me about it for days. I think I just want to send her this letter. And I was like, if you want to, go ahead. She broke up with him. And this is the thing. When you live together, once someone moves out, you're not going to get back together anytime soon. And this is a big news flash for a lot of people because they're like, oh, we can do couples therapy. We can talk it out. It's like once someone moved out, they have to sign a new lease. They had to move all their shit. They're not going to just move back in. They've actually already went through a bigger part of the breakup than you did because they had to move their shit out. When someone moves their stuff out, they're crying, they're upset. They're actually decompressing the relationship, right? When they take that drive, they turn the key to their new place, wherever that is, and then maybe like 3 weeks or 2 weeks later, you're like, you know what? I've been thinking about it. We should work on. It's like I already moved out.
I just moved all my stuff.
Yeah, I told all my friends we're broken up. It's like you're not. And guys are the worst about this. Like maybe we can do couples there. Maybe we could do this. Like if you're gonna get back together, just fucking go out and have a milkshake, man. Like go out and hang out. Like go do something, but. Stop going for, okay, let's just get back together now.
It's been enough time.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm ready.
And the guys are ego enough. Like, once I want you back, like, we could get back together. So this guy sends his letter out, right? His girlfriend had moved to another country because that's the country she was from.
Okay. Back home. Yeah,
let's just say it's Argentina because I like Argentina. I've never been there, but I've always wanted to go. So we'll make it Argentina, but it was close to Argentina. Are you with me? So she moves. He's in Cali. Right? I'm like, dude, whatever you send, she's not going to move back anytime soon. So you're like, you know what I mean? Sends it to her. She doesn't respond. Like I said, sends me an email. I'm so relieved that I sent this. I'm like, all right. In the back of my head, deep down inside, I'm like, okay, maybe there's a silver lining here. But, 2 days later, he's gutted. Emergency call. Please, coach, let's talk. Shit hits the fan, and she just responds with, you know what? We're not getting back together, this and that. Cut a long story short. Because of her response, he does some more digging, which was ill-advised because I said, stop digging, stop digging. Finds her photo on, I think it was WhatsApp or one of those. And you know how you have a photo, and she's with another guy on the photo. A guy that, surprise, surprise, he knew they were friends,
Right.
Gutted him. Now he regrets sending the letter because it's like she was already with someone the whole time. She had this lined up.
Yeah.
Now you divulged all these feelings. Now if you divulge, like, look at it. Connecting the dots is always easier. Hindsight's 20/20 later on. You look back and you're like, oh, now I get it. But if you send the gushy letter and you find out later, oh, she's with someone else, are you like, oh, I wish I would have never said sorry 15 times and how much I love you and care about you. So these are the things. If you get rejected, can you handle it? Next question. Are you saying something you've already told them? Oh my God. This is another one. I just want to tell them again. Why? For a different reaction? I just want to let them know. Because I don't leave things undone. Are you saying something you've already told them? Here's the best alternative. I'm going to say it one more time. Instead of saying like, oh, I'm sorry again. Oh, I would have done things different again. hey, do you want to get a cup of coffee when I'm in town? That's better. If you get rejected on that, it's fine. But at least you didn't divulge a bunch of old crap that they already know, and you become the traveling fucking salesman. How many people have dealt with salesmen in their life? Well, if you're human, you live in the Western world your whole life, right? Cold calls, car salesman. B's like shaking his head, right?
Yeah.
And there's some salespeople you ever leave from, you're like, I like that guy, or I like her.
Yeah.
Right? It's usually not the people that fucking repeat themselves or create some kind of dramatic story to get you. Right? And you become that salesperson. It's like, yeah, I already know that. Thank you. Right? It's like you come in to a restaurant and they start to sell you on a hamburger and you go, I've had hamburgers before. I'll just try it, okay? I don't need to know all these things. Oh, it's grass-fed beef. The animal actually died of natural causes. There was no barbed wire on the farm. You know. Right? And you're like, okay, I'll try it. And they go on and on and on. I'm already sold. Your ex is already sold that you're sorry. They already know you're sorry. Because if you're sending the letter, you already tried a few times. So they already know that. So now you're just trying to sell them on the same thing with the same information. And you think, if I send it in a text and I really write it for a paragraph or two, no, you're being redundant. Now, this is one people don't even realize till I actually ask the question. Are you pity seeking? Pity seeking is never attractive. Okay? It can work for certain people because there's certain people that it's not that they're attracted to you, it's they feel sorry for you. So if you have a type that, you know, works for the Humane Society or is a charitable person, highly thoughtful, into Hallmark movies, that kind of shit, then you might go the pity-seeking route, you know, and they might go, oh my God, I feel so bad for Mac because what he wrote me, and they show all their friends and family. There's a small sect that this might work for, not a big one. So you could use this, but the thing about pity is it wears off and then you got to get back to the relationship and the problems. Are they seeing someone else? Next question. Writing a letter to your ex, does it work? Are they seeing someone else? Yeah, they're seeing someone else, but I still want to let them know. Oh my God. Right? They're seeing someone else and you're going to write a letter? Just imagine this. And this is actually a true story in a lot of cases. Okay? They get your letter, and your letter's like, I just wanted to get some closure and tell you I'm sorry for everything that I did, and that I'm a changed man, and that I've done everything recently for you and for our future, and a lot of things have changed in my life. And there's a little teardrop on the fucking, you know, paper as you write. I just want to let you know that I believe we're soulmates, and even more than soulmates, we're twin flames. Yeah. And the list goes on, Just imagine if her new boyfriend, partner, maybe even booty call, reads that with her, laughing over a bottle of wine in their pajamas. Because that shit happens. I've seen it before where some girls, like, especially women, men don't do this as much.
Oh, they can be heartless sometimes. I mean,
do you know what I mean?
I mean, both can.
Right? As a, like, ha ha ha, look what he wrote me. Right? And you're like, yeah, this is going to land so well. It's a big joke to her. Does that happen all the time? No. Does it happen sometimes? Yes. If she's with someone else, I've been in relationships, not many like this. I had one girlfriend. Actually, I've had a few, but this one girlfriend, right? Her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, I don't know, once every 2 to 3 months would show his head in the door, send her a text, you know, yeah. I'm going to hurt myself, I'm going to do this. And now someone's like, wow, that's serious. Well, he never did it.
But he sent stuff that said I was going to hurt myself?
Yeah, he would send that. He would send, I miss you so much, I love you. All the while she's sleeping with me, she lives with me, she stays with me. And she'd be like, oh, you know, he sent me a note. Well, you know, that's fine. You know why? I don't know the guy. Right? I don't know. I just find him. I was like, wow, this guy's really on. You know, like he's chasing someone that's now sleeping with someone else and with someone. Wow. You're right. But every few months he'd check in, and but it would be like a sob story, right? But she would tell me. Now, do you think he thought, oh, when I send this sob story letter, she's going to share it with her new boyfriend at lunch, and her new boyfriend, he's going to be thinking, cool, man. You know? Like, is that what you think's going to happen? Now, I'm going to share the honest truth of that story. When me and that girlfriend broke up, and the girlfriend, we broke up for a specific reason that wasn't like I did anything wrong or she didn't do anything wrong. It was more like a long distance thing. But we had lived together for a while. She ended up back with that guy. So someone might go, oh, it worked. It worked. Because he stayed in the picture. He stayed on her mind. Mm-hmm. Maybe. But you know what? Who wants to take that fucking approach, dude? Backup quarterback, dude,
That's
after
tough.
being the fucking starting quarterback? Come on, man.
That's tough.
Now, I just wanted to say that because someone's like, oh, wow. Well, then it worked. Great approach, man. You know? Here's my alternative to it all. If you're going to go the route of like, oh, I'm going to get this letter, better to just ask them out. Better to just call them up.
And be like, let's hang out.
Yeah. Present moment, polarizing. They're like, no, I don't think it's a good time. No, I'm seeing someone else. Fine. But if they do meet up, you have drinks, you have dinner, you have coffee, you have lunch, whatever. You get in each other's presence. Because if you're going to get back together, the number one elephant in the room, are you even attracted to each other? Because that's your trump card. You guys hang out, and you can just feel like we still have feelings for each other. You could just tell when someone, you know what I mean?
100%.
And if you're broken up, the only thing you got going for you is missing each other and missing that attraction. So, but if you send a letter, you can't attach the feelings that you wrote that letter in. And like I said, or the text, and then they receive the text, they're in traffic, they're out with a friend, they've been drinking, they've been doing something, and they just put it to the side, and you're left on fucking red. Mm-hmm. I think that's the biggest modern day
diss. Or like
she left me on red.
Yeah.
It's like, and there's been guys that are like, I left her on red, and they just are like,
yeah,
fly hands, like this. It's like,
right.
I've had guys like, I left her on red, and the reaction was like, she blew him up, like, I can't believe this, because some people, you leave them on red, it's like, oh my God, they don't think like, maybe the person was busy.
It's how dare they.
Maybe they had a massive case of diarrhea that day, and they didn't have time to fucking respond to your text. There's all kinds of things that can go on. How many times have you looked at a text and you're like, oh, I got to respond to this later because you've been at a red light, turned green? Have you had it happen?
Never.
And then you go back and you're like, oh, this person's gonna think I didn't respond.
Mm-hmm. Like you feel bad for doing it?
I don't feel bad because it's on them. But I mean, there are other people that are like that. But sometimes people are just really busy, right? Oh, I didn't even notice this dating site coming on here.
I got it. Don't worry.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah.
Right. So these are just my points. Like I said, you're better off. You're better off just going with asking them out or calling them up.
Just being direct. Just
like I said, and then at least then if you get denied, because like the letter you're taking one extra step because you're like the letter you're hoping that you guys can meet up. But some people are like, no, I just want to leave it on good terms. Really? Really? I just want closure. Really? I really just want to say everything before I leave. Really? You don't think they know already? Or do you feel like this will grease the wheels so that you guys can go out, hang out, and possibly get intimate again? Because if this was about being friends and on good terms, you wouldn't need to write the letter. Like I said, but if you do something that's, because I've had clients do this where I'm like, you wrote what? You said what? Like you said that to them? And they're like, yeah. And they left it like that where they called their mom a whore and like he's like, whoa. You know what I mean?
right.
Like you said that? Oh, their best friend's this piece of shit. Their sister's that. And I'm like, you said that? And they're like, yeah, I kind of feel bad about that. Maybe down like 2-3 months down the road, you say something or you called them ugly and a bunch of things. Yeah, send the letter because you never did apologize. A redundant sorry, pity seeking. Now, here's the other part of it. If you already sent the letter, and I get clients all the time, you already sent it. You already sent it. Great job, done. So now I'm just going to support you. Someone's like, well, what do you mean? Well, there's no turning back the clock of time. It's not Michael J. Fox and it's not Back to the Future. So you're not going to, so might as well, we're going to go with it right now instead of me going, you did what? You sent a letter? Right? What did you write? Don't do that. It's like, well, you know, I'll never do that. Yeah. Because you know what? Like I was talking to my client yesterday, he goes, you know what, dude, I've been watching a lot of videos. I've watched a lot of different stuff and nothing's for sure. Sometimes you write a letter and it does work. I said, you know what? You're fucking right, dude. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. You're right. And I'm the coach. Like, I'm with you. If you tell me, hey, I really want to write it, I'm like, before you write it, send it over to me. Like think about it, hold it for 30 days, those kinds of things. Because most of the time you're not ready for those things that I just said. Those are good questions to bring up, right? It's like, when you look at it that way, you're like, wow. Because usually when you send it, you're highly emotional and you're hoping for an outcome. Sending a letter is probably the worst thing because you don't get a fucking response for a while. And then when you do, the other person's going, they're in the driver's seat. They're like, they know. They know what's up. They know what they're doing. And like I said, worst case scenario, especially as a man, she goes and shares it with her friends. Now if that ever happens to you, just go, all right, check that to character. But actually, a lot of women do that in an emotional state. Because you know what? They don't know what to do. They're like, kind of feel bad. I kind of want to go back. But you know what? They might have told all their friends all the bad things you did. And they just want to pour it on. There's all kinds of scenarios to this. My point is you crystallize things when you write it in a text. And this is one of the biggest things that's coming up in breakups. Oh, I found their phone. I found texts. I found pictures. Right? I found this. You know why texts are so tough? You can't run away from them. You could fucking screenshot them and look at them 10 times. Clients of mine are like, oh, I saw a picture of him and her. It's like, get rid of it. Stop looking at it on your phone. Every time I pull it up, it just hurts me. Stop doing it. Please. But it embeds in your head. And then it's like one of those things. It's like the ultimate proof. That's what's tough about Instagram or these things. Someone feels like, oh, this is proof that they're happy. No, it's proof that they could be happy.
You don't know.
Right. A smile takes about 10 seconds. Right? We live on one of the most beautiful islands in the world, my opinion. Right? In Phuket. It's gorgeous. People save up all year to come here for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
And how many times have you been on the beach and you've seen like a couple taking pictures and then she's smiling and then 2 seconds after she's like, why didn't you do this or da? So it's...
I go on my morning walks to the beach. These people are all on vacation, right?
Right.
And in my head, I'm like, enjoy it. I live here. Right? No problem. But a lot of them, get over here, right? There was a woman today, she's probably early 20s. I'm on my jog on the beach in the morning, and she's fairly attractive. And she's she's by herself, did a meditation for about 10 seconds for the camera, you know, like that. Yeah. And then she's looking around, she's trying to, I said, did you want me to take a picture for you, hon? She's like, please, thank you. And then she proceeded to, instead of just take a picture, it was like,
it turned into a shoot.
And so I just went, here you go. There you go. Thank you so much. It's like, yeah. And in that, you know, she went, it's like everyone's like, oh my God, she's so happy in Thailand right now. Oh, geez, man, that must be the most. And then, you know, the face just goes back to, thanks. You know, it's like, emotions are fleeting, folks. Most women do that. You know what I mean? So when you send your story over and you think like, now, not all, but there are certain ones, and then you're like, these are things to consider. So let me just reflect on these guys. I think write a letter to your ex. Does it work? Why are you writing it? Number one. That's it. Just get clear on it. Don't fucking lie. And if the first answer you get is like, oh, I just want closure. Why do you want closure? Oh, I want closure because I miss her. Why do you miss her? Because I haven't had intimacy in 2 months would be one answer. Some people are like, what's your real reason? Sometimes I have clients, I'm like, especially young guys in their 20s, it's like, really, you don't miss her. You miss what you miss, right? Let's be honest here. No, yeah, that's true. Are they the kind of person that likes letters or long-winded things or apologies that are mushy or explanations? Are they the kind of person like that? Now, here's the funny thing about this feminine, masculine, masculine, feminine. Now, a man would like an apology letter that explains yourself, explains why you're sorry. Not how you're feeling, but you know what? When I did that one thing, I'm sorry. And he wants you, correct me if I'm wrong on B and tell me how this lands, to feel reaffirmed that he's number one. You just smiled. You know what I mean, dude? Yeah. Like, he's number one. Because as a guy, if it's your girlfriend, it's like, I'm number one. Like, right? I'm the prize. Mm-hmm. You're the prize. It's like, okay.
All right.
He wants to be reaffirmed about that. And he doesn't really care if you were, overly sorry. Mm-hmm. It's more like, it's going to be more like, I want you back. I want you back. Yeah. I miss you. It's like, okay, that's if a woman gets a guy back, she doesn't want him to say sorry 18 times either, I don't think. And that's where guys get it wrong, because they're like, wait a minute, this is what I've seen in movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. She'd probably, and this is going to surprise some people, maybe I'm wrong on this, and there's some females on the chat, and you can say what you want. She probably would rather him go, hey, do you just want to, you want to go out tonight, or leave it alone? Mm-hmm. Don't go there. Now, if she goes, you're not even going to say sorry? You know what would be a clever response? Hon, I already said sorry. Let's just go have a good time. Neutralize it, neutralize it, neutralize it. Stop trying to become a movie. Are you going to apologize again? Don't do it. Apologies cheapen every time you say the same thing again and again. Stop acting like a little kid. If you get rejected, can you handle it? Great question. Are you saying something you already told them? Because I'll tell you what, as an adult, as a middle-aged adult now, I guess, is 40 middle-aged?
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude. Just because you're 36 or 37? Come on, man. Jeez.
I'm just telling the truth.
But as an adult, do you like to be told things twice? That's one of the things that's like, yeah, I heard you. I got you. It's like, my ears work well, I listen well, it's fine. I don't want to hear the same thing 15 times. Mm-hmm. We broke up over that. Yeah, that's right. Are you pity-seeking? That's not attractive. Are they seeing someone else? Do you want to be the backup? Are you really vying to be a backup plan? Think about this. If you got fired from a job, I've been fired a couple times. I don't really want to tell the stories, but when I was a teenager, I got fired a few times because I wasn't very agreeable on things. Right? I would go out for a break, 10-minute break, and I'd go out for 20, 30 minutes or something, right? Mm-hmm. Whatever. But I wouldn't go back to that job and go, hey, I just want to write you guys a letter. I'm sorry for everything I did. If it doesn't work out for the other guys that you hired, please have me back. How many people would do that?
And go through a few people too, and then we'll see again.
You're in a breakup. You've been fired. Now, if you went back into that place and you sat down with the manager and go, look, this is what I can do for you. Mm-hmm. Or this, I'm sorry, I can work on it. That train already left when they fired you, when you turned in your uniform. Now, here's one I didn't mention, but it's kind of funny because a client told me this. He goes, when he wrote the letter, mm-hmm. He goes, yeah, I'm just going for a Hail Mary here. You know what I mean by the Hail Mary?
The last-ditch effort
for the international crowd here, a Hail Mary for American football, because we got some Aussies out here.
Time is winding down.
Time's winding down. You just throw one up into a crowd and hope you get a touchdown. And the odds are about 1%, maybe less than 1%, right? It's an exciting play, though, mm-hmm. because you don't know what's going to happen. It's like kind of like playing lottery, mm-hmm. right? So he goes, oh, it's just going to be a Hail Mary. I'm going to send the letter. I'm like, this isn't a Hail Mary. It isn't. It isn't a Hail Mary because A Hail Mary, you're either going to, you're just playing a game with a clock, and this is your heart and your feelings and an ex, dude, so it doesn't relate. And when you think, if she sends you back a post, let's say you write the story, it's a paragraph, it's 2 paragraphs, you go on, and she goes, you know what, thank you for this. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate you taking the time. Ron and I are in Hawaii right now, and I've never been happier. And I really enjoyed being with you. And you writing this letter has just made me realize how good a person you are. That's not a Hail Mary. That's a response where your grandma would say, oh, that was nice of her, hun, to write that. Your mom might read it with you and go, oh, that was really kind of Kimberly to write back like that. And you're like, that wasn't what I was looking for. Was it? So it wasn't a Hail Mary, because a Hail Mary has 2 possibilities, lose or win. Writing a letter, bunch of possibilities, bunch of feelings. And like I said, why not just ask them out? Mm-hmm. Oh, this is coming up again? Jeez. Block user. Can see that I wasn't all right, I'm going to get to the comments. I went on a little bit of a tear here because it's one of those things that comes up again and again, and people get really dramatic about it too. It's like, I'm thinking about writing a letter. It's like this client of mine yesterday, when he told me he wrote the letter, right? I went, and he goes, are you disappointed in me? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not disappointed. I'm not disappointed in you. Mm-hmm. This is something a lot of people do. I'm a little bit annoyed because I hear it so often. Mm-hmm. And it's not even necessarily like, oh, it's such a bad move. You already did it, right? Like, it's fine. But just if you don't realize why you're doing it, then it's almost like annoyed by it's like someone's telling you something and you're like, yeah, I've heard this before, right? It's like I said, but it doesn't mean that I'm disappointed in you. Because I think it's human nature when you're in a breakup, you're looking for all these things. And really what it comes from is being exposed to movies, to being exposed to Hollywood movies. I don't think cavemen wrote, in the early times, I don't think there was men that were like, oh, I'm going to write this. I believe there's probably a lot of guys that, threw a rock at the window and tried to get in. Mm-hmm. Maybe some of that stuff, but I don't, So, all right, let's get to the chat here. If you guys have any questions, hopefully this bot is turning into an obsessive ex. Man, over the years of doing live stream, because you haven't been on a lot of the live streams, B. Sometimes people come into the live streams, mm-hmm. and they're not bots, but they'll just try to say some outrageous stuff, and they'll be like, yeah, and it's so funny because on my live streams, everyone will just be like, yeah, not funny. Do you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
Yeah, just throw him out, Mac. Just get him out of here. He's out of line. Have the bouncers take care of him. All right, Rise on deck. It's Halloween in America, so these are all non-Americans here except for Petty Betty, I think. How you doing, Petty Betty? We got the massive letter or email rarely ever works. Petty Betty goes, a love letter? It might work. It depends. But if it doesn't, I'll show my friends at the salon and we'll have a good laugh. I think, in all seriousness, there's certain circumstances it could work. It could work. I would say, though, if you're broken up and the woman had reasons to break up and she's told you and she's locked in, you sending a letter that has nothing to do with fixing those reasons. But sometimes this is what guys get wrong. It's like they go, well, I fixed it now. It's too late. It's like, wait a minute. Why would it be too late? Why would it be too late to fix it? It's like, yeah, because I don't believe you because it's been 5 years and you've been doing the same shit. So, and now I met someone else. It's like, wait a minute. Wait. I changed. I can help you now. I make more money. I'm stronger. I'm bigger. I'm better. Come see me now. It's like, yeah, now I'm turned off because you're being needy. See how that works, Petty Betty? It's like, let me write in a letter. I lost all this weight. I've been going to the gym. I've been working on myself. No, that's great. That's great. I met someone else. Thanks. Cheers. Bye-bye. Sometimes she will read the love letter right after she's just finished being with her rebound. What's up, playlist 00003? Some people will write it like a Shakespearean. Yeah, I know. You got me at hello. Isn't that from, that's a great movie. What? Jerry Maguire.
Oh, yeah. That's been a while.
Remember, and I think she says, you had me at hello. Yeah. And everyone goes, oh my God, I'm going to be the Tom Cruise guy that comes in the door. Mm-hmm. It's like, it doesn't work that way all the time. Like most women wouldn't go, you had me at hello. They wouldn't show their cards that way. They'd be like, I have to think about it. You can't just come into the house like this. You can't just come here like this. When you pour your heart out, sometimes they will then proceed to walk all over it in some cases. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
When a woman gets to a point where she wants to break up, she's built a case. And she feels like you've been ignoring her. She feels like you've been putting her off, and she feels hurt, and she's kind of embarrassed that she's got to break up with you. So then when you start overcompensating, it's like, let me get him back. Now that he's trying with me, the tables have turned. It's like, let me fuck with him a little bit so I can get my money's worth here. Because I've been waiting on him. And when the tables turn, whoo.
You can see he's vulnerable now. I'll get him.
It's not so much like the great R. Kelly, who was the great R. Kelly, who became a really bad R. Kelly.
Yeah.
When a woman's fed up. Have you ever heard that song, When a Woman's Fed Up?
Probably.
It's probably before you were born. Your face. When a woman's fed up, it's more like when a woman's fed up, but you're chasing. Mm-hmm. It's like having a fish on the line and just letting line out and going, yeah, I just want to play this fish for a while. Mm-hmm. It's like just for sport. Right. Let me just leave them on the line for a little bit. It's like they get you up to the boat and they're like, oh yeah. Why didn't you put him in the boat? It's like, nah, I'm not ready yet. I'm having fun.
I'm fishing.
Yeah, I'm fishing. I mean, I want to fight here. Come on. Think it will fix all situations. I have to default saying sorry. No one likes the pity season. If they apologize again, then they really guilty. I know where this is going. Oh, do you, Petty? Are you still friends with him? Dang, Mac. I think she was probably talking about the story where the friend took the Discman and I made him cry with words. Mm-hmm. Like I said, it wasn't a fight. It was just very dramatic. Mm-hmm. Tell me the truth. Mm-hmm. I know what he did.
Yeah, you weren't going to hit him. You were going to...
No way. You'd have kicked my ass. He's a bigger dude than me. He's a good friend. He was a friend of mine.
Yeah.
He was 5'5", kind of undersized there. Oh, the haymaker, yeah.
The haymaker, yeah.
Did he have a weapon? No. It was funny, man. I was, I've talked about this before, because where we live, a lot of people have motorbikes, motorcycles. When I say motorbikes, a lot of people call them scooters in the States, like 125cc. So they're not a big bike, but they're a bike, right? And there was this guy yesterday that was in front of me on the road, right? And he's got this fucking big motorcycle 500cc thing, right? Mm-hmm. And he stops and his feet are like this. He can barely touch the ground. And I'm like, it's always the short guys that buy the big bikes. I swear. Like, go to the red lights. And friends of mine that have lived here have always pulled up. It's like, you want to ride it, man? I'm like, nah, I'm cool. Come on. It's like, nah, I'm all right. And they're teetering. A little bit of an overcompensation. Some short guys can play ball. Comes to other sport. Okay. She said B's a badass. Okay. What's up, Trudy? I don't eat meat, but thank you. That's a nice response to something I don't know the question to.
It was your hamburger.
How many questions can be answered that way, Petty Betty? I don't eat meat, thank you.
It was your hamburger story that you went into the restaurant, whatever.
What did I say?
Something about ordering a hamburger.
Yeah, I'm way behind today. I have recommended letters in the past. It's about closing the door and moving on for the dumpy, not the ex. I still wouldn't recommend it in most situations. Yeah, I'm sure there's certain circumstances. Like I said, if someone did something really wrong and they haven't said sorry yet, I think that's one of them. I don't know, but I'm never going to ghost anyone, nor am I ever going to get ghosted again because life's too short for regrets. If I don't want to be with someone, I'll tell them. Go for you, Petty Betty.
Right on.
All right, Percy Blue, I'll be your chat bouncer. Thanks you. You know me so well. All right, so I have a few things on deck I'm going to get into. I'm going to unpack something right now. I do have a situation with writing a letter to your ex, so we got that. Anyone else that's on deck that's got some questions, responses, throw them in here. If someone maybe wants to get on a call today that they want to talk about something, I could send you a link to that. So I'm on my second coffee, which isn't common, so I'm juiced. Let's go here. All right. So this was an email that came in, and I'm going to go through it a little bit. It's not specifically about writing a letter to your ex, but I think we covered that in the first hour. Hey, Mac, that's actually hilarious timing. So this person, I'd emailed him to check in with him. I haven't talked to him for a while, and I do this a lot of times with coaching clients. I'll just send him an email and say, how are things going, and update me. So in this particular case, he threw me 3 paragraphs, and I just asked him if he didn't mind if I unpack this in the live stream. So this is what I'm doing. Since we last spoke, I did end up going and seeing, let's just call her Kim, and her mom from a karaoke night. It actually fell on my birthday. Kim and I didn't really have much one-on-one conversation, to be honest. I don't remember much conversation in general. So just to give you some backdraw to this, this individual was dating this woman for a while. They had a lot of things go bad. This is like what I would say the love of his life, and he's in his 20s. Someone he's had a lot of love for and cares about, and they've known each other for years. We shared some small talk about an acting gig she was doing, being shot here. Other than that, not much verbal talk. At one point during the night, she texted me and said, "Could you imagine if we did a duet?" I noticed when I texted her back across the table that she still had my name in her phone as Jim with our symbols. I'm just using different names, which are the star and moon emojis, which to my understanding stood for if it's meant to be, then it'll be, quote, we always said. So these two have been chasing each other for a long time. They've actually been intimate before, but they keep reconnecting. This is almost like a twin flame story in a lot of ways. I'm not saying I completely believe in twin flames, but this would line up with that. So basically what happened is she's had another boyfriend. They didn't work out. She's actually lied to him before. They used to hook up, but they're back to a point now where she's living where he's living, and they've gone out a few times and hung out, and there's something there. Now, I'm going to this is going to be confusing because you guys don't have all the backdrop. Now I'm realizing it as I say it. Yeah. Anyways, while she was singing 2 separate occasions with her mom and her mom's friend, both tried to talk to me about Kim. So he's been going out on a karaoke night with her and her mom and some other people, and it seems from what he's told me that she's interested. She wants to hang out. She's having a good time with him, and he's not making a move. John brought it up first and asked me why I wasn't all over that. I told him that I had tried this last year. She wasn't ready. I was giving her space to heal and live, explained the situation briefly to him, and just said right now the ball was in her court. Okay, so this was the main part of the part. He was saying that kept it brief. Then again, at another time of night, her mom looked over at me across the table and at random and just told me, it'll all work out. Relationships are hard and sometimes they take time. Something along those lines. Again, I didn't really entertain the subject too much. I was just kind of like, yeah, I understand. I'm just focused on growing and learning. I think this has all taught me a lot. That's the kind of thing. A while later, Kim said she was going to another bar with some friends, and an hour after she originally planned to leave, which I took as a good sign, her mom asked if I was going with her. I said, no, I'm just going to head home for the night. Kim had not invited me and left it at that. Why didn't she invite you? I walked Kim out to her car and I told her good night. She asked me to let her know when I got home. I said I would. When I got home, I texted her and made it home. She said good, and I left it at that. Why didn't she invite you would be my question. If she didn't invite you, why didn't you want to go? That's just, if you guys are interested in each other. Good, I left it there for the night. It was fun night all in all. Wasn't something I'd done before, so it was fun getting out of my comfort zone. I even performed. original song I'd written about her, and she loosely teased me about it that night. So you sung a song that was written about her, but she didn't invite you out after. That's strange. I'm just wondering, because I've known this guy for a while, I think you need to go on offense a little bit more. What stood out to me is when you're like, I'm just, the ball is in her court. Okay, so just a little attraction 101, feminine, masculine. A lot of women don't like the ball in their court. Does that make sense, B?
Yeah.
Do you understand what I mean by that?
Of course.
It's like, well, she's got to make the next move. There's a lot of women I've dealt with in coaching, and they're like, I would never make a first move. They could like a guy, they could be absolutely into him, and she was like, there's a woman I know that's been dating a guy for 2 years. They haven't been intimate. The guy has some issues, and she's like, I'm like, well, have you considered making a first move since he has some issues? He had some things in his childhood and different things, so he's very. I'm like, so why don't you make the first? I would never make a first move. So when you keep the ball's in her court, you're gonna have to go on offense, and it doesn't mean it's gonna work. It doesn't mean that she could not deny you, but you're gonna have to be a little bit more aggressive in the sense of like making a move or asking her out. She's not gonna. Most women aren't gonna like, and she's not gonna fully chase you. She's interested. Kim's mom did invite me out to a karaoke again next week. Kim said I was welcome as well, but didn't force the conversation. See, you're reading way too much into it because she said she didn't force the conversation. So to me, that tells me that you think she didn't really want you to go because she didn't force things. That's what I'm reading into. I could be wrong, but I would say this: you were invited. Why don't you go? You need to do more things where you invite her to do things with you individually. And if she says no, fine. If she's like, oh, I don't think it's a good time, you go out, you have a karaoke night, it's fireworks, it's excellent, you sang her a song. She's like, I'm going to go out with my friends to this other bar. She didn't invite you, fine. It's a little bit weird that happened. And I wouldn't say to you, going on offense wouldn't be like, hey, can I come? No. But on the flip side, what I would say is after that night, hey, let's go get dinner, let's go have drinks, and go do karaoke, just me and you. Okay, the idea like, oh, the ball's in her court, she's not going to ask you out. Doesn't sound like that. A week went by and she hadn't texted me. Okay, so here again, a week went by, she didn't text you, so you're thinking the ball's in her court. You need to text her. You guys had a good time. You had a good time. B's laughing at the comments right now. I didn't even see what it is. You guys had a really good time. Set up a date. All right. I decided to reach out a day before we would have gone out to the bar again. I said, hey, she responded literally 4 hours later. You're reading way too much into it.
Yeah.
The fact that you timed that it was 4 hours later means you were waiting. Okay. If this was me, I'd be like, oh, she texted me. I wouldn't think, 4 hours later. Again, whenever you text, someone could be in traffic. She could had had her period and been swimming. Who knows, man? There's all kinds of things going on here. There's all kinds of possibilities. That's why when people go, oh, they didn't text me back, it's extremely closed-minded to think it's about you. Yeah. Okay? With a simple AO, I responded a while later with just a checking in, haven't heard from you, acting. How did everything go? She said it went well. So now you're like, oh, let me just play it cool. Ask her out. Hey, did you want to go get something to eat? She says no problem. All right, maybe another time. Right. Ask her out, dude. In order to get to a point where you're like hooking up again, you got to go out. And even if that's slow, it's got to be one-on-one. She says no, it's fine. It's a discovery mission. It's fine. Now you're clear. You don't want to go out with me. She said another time, she said, oh, I'm not really ready to go out with you now. Now you have some clarity instead of like, how's things going? How's that going? She doesn't like this slow-mo either. It went well, and that's that. I haven't heard from her since. I haven't reached out. Again, you're saying like, oh, the ball's in her court if she wants me. She's not going to ask you out, dude. She's not going to make any first moves. To be honest, I don't know how much she's interested based off these things, and I'm a little worn down with chasing something that is feeling fruitless. To be honest with you, you're absolutely not chasing her. Mm-mm. You're actually being a little bit too coy.
Yeah.
Now, if you told me like ask her out. Just ask her out. Just ask her to go out, just you two. Mm-hmm. You had a good time when it was a group. That might be a different dynamic. She says no. This is what you respond. Write this down. Okay.
Done.
Don't say, oh, I think I'm going to give you more time and like things have been rough. Don't explain things in a feminine way or anything like that. Just say, okay, that's fine. And then you can leave it alone. Now, if you really like her, you're really into her, you really want a relationship, and this friend talk gets on your nerves, then just stop being friendly like this. This idea that the ball's in her court, that's your whole problem. That's perspective. The ball isn't in her court. The ball's always been in your court. You just kind of think, if I don't score, I lose. No, take the shot. See the difference? Mm-hmm. You might miss. She might.
You lose either way, right?
I'm a little worn down, confusing, and just, I don't know. It just leaves me confused every time. I thought she'd extend the invitation. See? You're waiting. I thought she'd extend the invitation. She's not that girl. There are some girls out there, women out there, that are aggressive. Mm-hmm. I like them. I'm like, oh, cool, man. Take the thinking game out of it. You're really into me. Right? Superstars. They don't have to do this stuff, right? Because the women are just aggressive. Fine. She's not. So you're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to say something to go out again if she wanted to actually come. She might have agreed with her mom. In the next, here's your goal. I think it's great that you're cool with the mom and you have a good relationship and all that, but don't involve the mom in a future date. If she's just trying to be polite, but she didn't. Haven't heard from her at all since feels like our bond is just broken. See? This is just a narrative that you attach to it. The ball's in her court. I feel worn down. The bottom line is you like her, you have feelings for her, but you don't have the balls to just ask her out and go out on a one-on-one date. And this is the problem. And I don't mean this in a fucked up way because people are like, wow, you're being a little bit hard. I'm not being hard. I'm being honest. And this is why it's good, because it's anonymous. You're not getting stoned in the street by a bunch of friends. Like, oh my God, you're so stupid. No, let me just tell you this. You're way better off just asking her out. And when you ask her out and go out with her, you don't have to have this heartfelt, oh, I've been missing you. Oh, I've been thinking about you. I think we can really be. Don't go into all that stuff. Just have a good time. Just have a good time. Drop some jokes. If you guys like to sing songs together, I think that's outstanding. Maybe do some dancing. Okay? If she says no, then fine. Feels like our bond is broken? That's just way too heavy, dude. If you guys went out and you were with her family and you did karaoke and you had a good time, I don't think the bond's broken. I'm not sure what else I can do in this situation aside from letting it go. It's been over a month, so I don't know, letting it fade. Just lay down your sword.
Give up the fight.
Aside from all that, I've got... Okay, this is other stuff. Bottom line is go for it, man. I mean, ask her out. And if she says no, then you know. But this idea that, oh, I'm worn down, oh, I'm this, I'm that. If you go out with her and you have these feelings after, maybe she's not the one for you. Maybe she's not ready. But you're going to have to make a move. You're going to have to make the first move at some point. And part of that is the ball, waiting on her, suggesting that she can call you. And it might, listen, it might end up like this. Oh, I'm not really interested. I think we're just friends. Great. Clarity 101. Fine. Now I know. Thank you. I understand. You can cry yourself to sleep and know that, okay, this is where we stand now. But this idea like, oh, I'm worn down. I don't know what to think. I don't know can be solved. It can be solved by asking her out, and then you know where she stands. The mad inventor? I've helped you sleep peacefully since 2019. I didn't know it was that a peaceful thing. Avoidance. You had me at goodbye. I got given a breakup CD once? What was that all about? What is a breakup CD? Like, was it was it a mixtape of a mix of songs? The songs were handwritten on the CD. I never understood guys that bend over backward to make things work with someone that lied and cheated on them. Low value to the core, pathetic. Writing a letter, laugh out loud. Give me a break. She lies or cheats, she's done. Trash for the streets, move on. One thing I'll say is when it's your girlfriend, it's not that easy sometimes. You know, all these channels now, she's for the streets, right? Corey Wayne are like, she's just trash, or she's in her hoe phase. It's like, these are girlfriends to some guy of 2, 3, 4, or 5 years, and everyone's going, yeah. And like half the guys that have the channels that talk about this, I'd love to see their lineups. I'd love to see their body of work. Because some of them I'm like, right? No one's showing their cards really, right? Like, for example, when you're in high school or you're in university or you work with someone, you could kind of see like someone that talks this talk, you can go, he's got a hot wife, or he's had a couple hot girlfriends, or fucking John's always out. But like some of the people on YouTube are like, they throw all these stones, and you're like, why are they so into this rhetoric of like women are all bad, this or that? It's like, are you even in the game? Oh, the game's flawed. It's like I said, B. If we were playing basketball, we both played basketball for years. We lose a game, we'll go, the refs. Yeah. The player on the other team, he wasn't 13, he was 16. You know what I mean? Like, you can go on and on and on and on and on. Just play another game. Play in another league. Am I right? Work on your game. No pun intended. Because she was seeing Chad at the club. Oh, Rye's using the Chad thing about the... Even if like, okay, so she goes out to another bar afterwards and you don't get invited. It just sounds like you're being very passive. That's all. And you know what? I've been there before. I've never been one to worry about... I've been one where I don't know if I should make a move or I shouldn't. But don't spend a lot of time on it. Ask her out. You got to go out, you two as individuals, and then if she says no, I don't think it's good, then you got your clarity done. You don't have to be thinking about it anymore.
Yeah, then you know. You're good.
Actually go into it like this. Either way I win because I stopped not knowing. And don't, like, this is the thing. I just wanted to, getting in your feelings and declaring all these things before you even hook up again, you're better off going to get a kiss, get intimate, getting to that point, then before you even get to that point, wanting to get like, how are we gonna get clear on our feelings? I think this is one of those things where people have been overly exposed to therapy or terms of how to go about things because they watched a bunch of YouTube videos instead of just going, let's go out and I really like this girl or I really like this guy and let's have a good time. Present moment, present moment, present moment, present moment. Insert dominance, hook up with the mom. Wow. Is that what you were laughing about?
Yeah.
Have you done that before, Clutch? I know that wasn't... Usually people's examples are something they've actually done before or they do. And damn, I didn't know guys obsessed like that. In pickup, we called this pulling the trigger. You will not win the girl if you don't risk losing her first. Hang out, hook up, and have fun. Bring her over for a nice bottle of wine. Some cherries and strawberries in the fridge. Why not, man? Maybe go out to the hot tub, get the jets going. Let's get in the hot tub.
That sounds like a lovely evening.
Yeah, I got a hot tub at my place. That's it. It just strikes me when Corey Wayne's always like, got a bottle of wine at the house. Have you ever done that before? Like you're on a date. Hey, got a bottle of wine at the house. You want to come over? And I like Corey Wayne a lot, but I'm just saying, like, you can use your, I've always said that, like, use your own thing. But like some people, because they read this book 15 times, and like I said, there's a lot of good stuff in there for the, you know, like a playbook or whatever. Sure. But like, I have a bottle of wine at my house. It's like, don't go verbatim, man. Like, got a hot tub at the house. You want to check it out? Oh, man. What I would ask the individual that wrote that, I'd say, what's holding you back? And why are you overthinking this? And sometimes what you've done is like, if you really, really are infatuated with the girl, or in some cases the guy, if you're really infatuated with her,
You're scared to get rejected.
you're scared to get rejected, but you also have built up this view of them as being above you.
Yeah, better than, yeah.
And so you kind of anticipate you're less than them, and they can sense that.
And it's almost like, oh, I just like hanging out with them, even if it's like plutonic or
Yeah.
it's
And
not,
so if you're in that situation, you have a few different, if you're infatuated, I'm not saying you are, but it could be the case, and that might resonate with you. And that's okay. There's a lot of guys and women out there that have been infatuated with someone. Usually it's in high school. Right? But if you've known someone for a long time, that's what it comes from. It's like you worked with them, you've been through a lot over the years.
It's just cool hanging
They've
out.
always been the one that got away. Okay, I'm with you. That's fine. There's nothing. People on the chat will be like, oh God. It's like, yeah, it happens to some people. Has it happened to me? Never been infatuated with anyone. It's just not me. But that being said, realize it first, like, this is infatuation. This isn't soulmates. That's what they'll say. Oh, this is soulmates. It's like, no, you're infatuated. Because soulmates, if it was true, which it's possible, everything's possible, they would be also into you just as much. But the idea that they're going to, the ball's in their court, that's not how it works. This is why it's essential to keep a part of you unattached no matter how long you're with someone. Think of it as insurance for a bad moment. If it happens, you're ready. I made the mistake of going all in once when I was in my 20s and never did it again after that. Blew up in 3 years in. I don't know. All right, let's unpack this mad inventor. Have you been on the live stream before? It's like got such a secluded group here now. I wish it's like we got a stranger in here, man. Mad inventor. I would say this. That's not necessarily the best approach, but I know what you mean. What I would say though is if you meet someone, I don't know if you can control how much how much a part of you is unattached to them.
Yeah, like how much you can.
It's kind of like this, and like maybe Clutch, who was in the pickup world for a while, and I don't know what extent you were or how far I don't know the rankings of a pickup. Is there lieutenants? Is there colonels? Is there an E5, E7? Is there a grandmaster? I don't know, but what I would say, and tell me if I'm wrong, Clutch, the greatest of pickup artists are gonna meet their match, is what I say. Like if you're gonna be meeting so many women and you're so good with women, you're gonna eventually meet one that you're like, as Corey went, knocks your socks off, right? You're gonna eventually meet one you're like, wow. And I don't know if you when you meet that one that you're really into, and it's rose petals and wine glasses, it's fucking great, it's the honeymoon phase, it's all that. I don't know if you can just go, yeah, I'm gonna keep a part of me unattached during this period of time. Now, some people naturally are like that. They're naturally like that for a variety of reasons. It all has to do with their life experience. Planning to be that way,
or if it's not you, and then
planning to be that way, that's an interesting thing. I mean, what I'd ask Mad Inventor, like, give me an example of that. Give me an example of how you'd stay unattached. And really what you're doing, I had this one situation in my 20s, so it's true of all women in relationships now. And this is what most people do. So it's like, I had this, it's not. That was just one relationship, dude. So I will say this. I've been saying this for a long time, and some people, it's not because why I do breakups, but in the future, there's going to be just more breakups. People are going to be less attached overall. You know why? Because they're more attached to their phone. Oh, come on. Think about it. Again, I live on a tropical island where people save up all year to come here for 2 weeks. Guess what a lot of the people are doing on the beach? You know what I mean? They're on their phone. Guess these couples are on beachfront restaurants, romantic dinners, candlelit. Both of them are on their phone. And someone's like, oh my God. Like 4 or 5 years ago, you're like, wow, I can't believe everyone I would say 90%. No one's looking at the beach. Now, here's the other part to this. Just someone's like, oh, how does that affect relationships? Fucking a lot, actually. Because if you scroll down, your mind's constantly flickering through new information, new people, new things. So depending on what you're focused on, and you go down a rabbit hole, well, my girlfriend really pissed me off right now, so let me go check out some other chicks. You could go do that for about 10 hours. You can go talk, you can go look up other YouTube people that tell you to get rid of her. Like, you can go into Red, you can go all these different things. So I think people are already like that a little bit right now. I'd say the silver lining is, you know, find someone that's not really into social media and those kinds of things. I've used LOI, I have used Do You Want to Draw a Line? Had crayons and coloring books at my house. If the attraction is there, the reason for coming over is an accepted excuse. I don't understand. Do you understand that? Who cares less holds the power in any relationship? That's absolutely true, Mad Inventor. I would say there is no such thing as a unicorn. That's true. I've never seen a unicorn. No matter how amazing you think your girlfriend is, there's always someone else that can be hotter or better. So you're a negative person or a positive person, Mad Inventor? All right. So first of all, the one who cares less has the power in any relationship, yes, but the one who cares less can change in the relationship quite quickly. All right? Now, the power, actually in some relationships though, this is what's interesting. This is why it's not cut and dry with every relationship. Someone could make more money, but someone could hold the keys to the intimacy. Someone could see how there's like compartments to it, and then some of those things matter more in different situations, so the power dynamics change. So it's not just like, oh, this person rules the relationship like the 1950s when, you know, the dad fucking had the job, he ruled the roost, he had the money, he had the say, he had everything like that, right? Okay, it's not like that anymore. It's a little bit different. So I think that's true, but those dynamics change quicker. There's no such thing as a unicorn. I'll tell you what, I've met some guys and I'm like, damn, where'd you meet that girl? I wouldn't call her a unicorn, but I'd say she's a pretty good catch. You know what I mean? And that same guy will find a way to fuck it up. Here's what I would say, Mad Inventor. There's no perfect relationship. And right now, there's never been more of a time when and this is one of the biggest things I've noticed that's never been more of an issue. And I've said this, a lot of guys that are in their 20s, it's more of an issue, but I've had other clients that are in their 30s, is how much they're obsessed with their woman having to be hot. Like and I'm with you. Like, to me, I'm just like, are you attracted to her? How much are you attracted to her? But like, to me, when someone gets really into hot, they're also, the ego in them is saying, let me take pictures so people can see on Instagram how hot my girlfriend is. Like, they're like, I have one client, that's all he ever does is he has a new date, or like, she's not hot enough. She's not a 10. She's not a 10. It's like, oh, all right. Attraction counts.
Let me guess, he's young?
He's young, yeah. He's in his early 20s. It's all right. Like, and everything he refers to about a date, she's a 7. She's young. She's a 6. She's an 8. But when you were in your 20s, did you do that? I'm not standing on moral ground.
Right.
Like, where I'm like, oh, attraction doesn't count, or it's about her personality. I'm not standing on that. But when you get into like, she's a 9, and you're convinced in your head about this number rating, it's like, did you date women that you'd say now were a 6 or 7 that you were attracted to?
Yeah.
And you wouldn't make a big deal out of it, right?
No.
Because she had something that you were really attracted to, right?
Yeah, but I think it's just more prevalent. You know,
it's
when you're
way
like,
more prevalent.
Yeah.
It's way more. And the people I know that are active on social media or have big egos, it's like a big deal, and they're never really satisfied.
Well, social media is a big part of your life, you know?
But there's a client of mine right now, he was dating a woman that was really hot, highly pretentious, game playing. She took him So she had hooked up with him before, and then they hooked up like 6 months later. And she, like, while he was visiting her. So like they lived in different areas. And they had great intimacy. Everything's there. She's she's hot. She's a 10, right? Intimacy's outstanding. So then, you know, she randomly took him to a smoke shop, right? And he was like, what is this? And it was her ex-boyfriend worked there. And she just wanted to fuck with her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, just stop in with the new guy or whatever.
Yeah. So stay with me. So he's laughing about this to me. He's like, and I'm like, just keep in mind, bro, you're next.
She's gonna do it to you.
So I said, that's cool. You think it's funny, and I think it's fine. And you didn't know what you were doing, and you're not a part of it, and ha ha ha. Yeah. But what goes around comes around is a saying. But also, like I said, my saying is, you're next. That's a character thing. Keep hooking up, having fun. But if you were with her, she's going to play the same games with you. And just recently, he was like, wow, she's sending me these weird texts. I'm like, she's cat-pawing you. Now, that's my personal term. Don't take it. She's just playing with you. Cat-pawing doesn't mean you're getting played. It just means it's just playing with you. How many times do you get hurt by the same person and still give yourself up to them? If it's a pattern of history, at what point is it better to just let it go? Well, why wouldn't you let it go before? Something's making you hold on. How many times do you get hurt by the same person and still give yourself up to them? That's a good question. That's a choice of the individual. That's individual circumstances. So if you told me, like I always say, tell me your story, write your story, tell me your story, let's unpack it. It's up to you. But if you're a dramatic person, or you're into art, or you're into music, you might create narratives that are more dramatic. Does that make sense? Like if you're a movie writer, you're like, oh, this is how the movie's supposed to go. If you're a songwriter, you might say, this is how the song's supposed to go. But what you have in your head most likely is that this person was meant for you, or you're never going to meet someone as good as this person. Or you're not allowing yourself to be away from them long enough. But if you were able to just cut off, and by the way, if you're infatuated with someone, or you're into someone, or they've hurt you many times, and you think, I'm in a jail cell, you probably have the key in your pocket, dude. That's the thing. I'm stuck. No, you're not. It's just there's something that's just in your mind. There's a secondary gain there, because you think, if I leave, I'll never have a chance. You've been chasing so long, you don't know what it's like to take a break. But if you went, let's just say that, Percy Blue, let's just say that you go, I'm going to move to New Zealand, because I know you don't live in New Zealand, right? Like, I'm going to move to New Zealand. I have a real opportunity over there for a job, this, that, and the other, and you have no access to that individual. You'd get over them. You'd get over them. Not right away, but as long as you had no access to that individual, it would. Here's a real interesting one. I almost thought about clipping it for the live stream. Andrew Bustamante, who I always talk about, the CIA agent, B's rolling his eyes here. He's like, oh God, again.
Here we go.
Yeah, right? This guy's a real CIA agent, so it's a kind of interesting. I kind of think that he might still be working for them, but he said something interesting. Think about this for a minute. He said, when you go into deep cover as a spy, there's actually a protocol to come out of it. Fucking think about that for a minute. So he said that what they do is there's certain things that they have you do every month or every 3 weeks. I'm gonna have to pull this clip to make you remember who you are.
Oh, because you're so deep.
You're laughing, but it makes sense, right? He's like, dude, some of these guys go in as millionaire oil moguls, if that's, you know what I mean? Like right? And he goes, they come out as a CIA agent making $90 grand a year, and they're fucked because for 2 years they've been playing. It kind of makes sense what actors do. That's why they're all goofy. But he said there's a process to implement you back. Now here's the other part. He goes, the interesting thing, you don't stay a spy forever. It's only like 6 or 7 years, and then you're done, because you can't keep recycling new things. Someone knows you out there, but also it would mess you up mentally. So it made me think, when you're in a relationship, and you've been with someone 5 years as a husband, as a boyfriend, dude, it's the same thing. When you get out of it, you're like,
who am I?
Yeah,
I got to get back.
And you didn't get the playbook of what to do. So you just lost your identity like that. Now, if the other person's been seeing someone else going out more than you, looking their best, they already got started. They already started their new identity.
They got their protocol.
And that's where people at the other end are like, wait a minute. And so I'm saying, if you're still chasing this woman, you're still stuck in an identity where you're like, I'm not good enough for her. That's the problem. That's the problem. But like I said, if you got started a new identity or moved into a new place and you weren't around her anymore, you'd be fine. But just to let someone go and they're still in your orbit, they're still around you, very difficult. Very difficult. You have to go all in too. Matt and Venner, putting up a cold wall becomes more manageable if we've been hurt and betrayed in the past. This is what happened to me, so it's automatic now. I don't really pay attention to it. It just happens. God, that's sad. Cold wall. No. I remember there was a guy that came on here for a while. I haven't seen him on the live stream in a while. And he was, I wanted to say like mid 40s, maybe early 40s. And he was like, I look young though. And I'm 6'2". I'm like, okay. Like in the live stream when he first came on. And he was dating I think the girl was like 29, 28. And he's like, I look good for my age. Like he had all these things, right? Maybe he was in his early 50s. He might have been even older.
Okay.
So they've been together 2 years. She was beautiful. I think he said Filipino. 2 or 3 years down the road, she breaks up with him. He's beside himself. He came on the live stream multiple times. He was pissed.
Before and after?
Yeah, he was pissed. I did a live coaching with him too. And he was very condescending. Like everything was like a smart ass remark, even in the coaching. You know, it's like, and he had just basically after this woman given up on women. Like women are liars. And I'm like, you had a 20-year age gap or a 15-year age gap. Yeah, I know you're 6'2", and I know you're good looking for your age, but do you know what I mean? Like, it's not bad. It's just if she was, because he said she was really hot and everything, but he also didn't connect the dots. She had a history of going out with guys for money. She wasn't very sharp. He was paying her condo house payment from the get-go. Like there was all these things that lined up. Right. That was like, you can connect the dots now. And it's like, not all women are like this, but she was like this. And now that he was with a woman that was 20 years younger, the hard thing for guys like that, you can't just get one of those again like that. Right? Unless, and I wasn't even fully aware of this, but I just had a client recently that told me about this, these sugar daddy sites.
Wow, yeah.
Do you know about them?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard stuff. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about them because I wouldn't go on one, right? I wouldn't go, oh yeah, let me just check this out for fun. Right? It's like,
yeah.
But a client of mine was like, that's what she does. That's what she does. She's done it for years. And she always, and within a week, it's like, got one. Oh, it's not fair. It's not fair. It's like, well, I mean, is it fair that someone has $1 billion? Is that fair? I don't know. Is it fair there's a lot of dumb people with huge platforms? Is it fair? I mean, you can go on and on and on. What happens, though, that's interesting is guys just get ruined by one scenario. And it's like, I'll never do that again because your heart was broken. But you know what's interesting about that? That girl that broke his heart, she probably had something bad happen to her before.
Right.
If you see everyone's body of work, everyone will have so much more compassion. The amount of women that I've dealt with that have been abused or physically hurt by men, and someone's like, oh God, really? If you hear the stories, it's way more prevalent than you think.
And then they just kind of continue that cycle.
Well, yeah, and then you're like, why are women like this? Or I'm not saying that's the reason. Every individual is different for different reasons. But if you got to know why they are the way they are, you'd be surprised because there's a story that's longer than you can take the time to listen to, and they probably didn't tell you. And so this guy that feels like he got used and he got lied to, really, He had 2-3 years of bliss with a hot woman that was younger than him, and he just thought, well, I'd like this to go on forever. And she thought, this is just a pit stop, hun. So did he lose? No, he still got 3 years with incredible. Like, he was like, dude, we'd go out and tables would turn. You know?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, well, she's going to have more options. You didn't mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Someone is a PUA when they get a 10 out of 10 streak. 10 numbers, 10 makeouts. How do you keep score of that? And like, how do you know the number? So do they call the numbers immediately to validate them? Mm-hmm. Making out. You know what's funny about that is, like, I remember when I was in my 20s and stuff and lived in San Diego, and you'd hook up like that at a bar or something. I remember being like, you just had a cigarette or something? Have you ever made out a girl that smokes cigarettes? Oh. And afterwards you're like, there's nothing that can get rid of that too, I don't think. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
AFC is, and you think about it like, right? It's just casual. It's like, yeah, I made out with 10 girls. It's like, it's a lot of germs, man. So would that be, what would the, we got to get you on one time, Clutch, because I would just like to learn about this PUA in Ottawa. Man. Would you be up for that, P, to get certified as a PUA? Like, let me get 10 numbers and 10 makeouts today. Would that be some challenge that you would be up for?
Yeah. I'll get a certification. That's fine.
10 makeouts. You know the funny thing about that, if you would have said 10 hookups, which I would say like sleeping together, how many guys lie? We've talked about this before.
You need confirmation.
Yeah, dude, there's so many liars, like I said, man.
Yeah.
So many liars. I've had friends like over the years that you're just like, man, I don't even want to get into those stories of those lies. It's like, you lied about that? Mm-hmm. Just bold-faced lie. I like being in a relationship with someone I'm crazy about and they're crazy about me just as much. How do you measure that? That was old pickup, though. COVID killed what was left of the open approach. The true players now just have unique dating profiles. I don't want to half-ass anything, mind, as well as be friends. I think it takes getting betrayed and hurt really bad that you never want to go there again. So you do whatever it takes to ensure that I love my girlfriend, but if she fucks up, she's out in 30 seconds. It's a short leash, man. I don't do social media, so no picture posting for me. The girls I did are all attractive to me. Slim fit, pretty face first, great personality next. Sounds like you're doing pretty well for yourself, Matt Inventor. Kids nowadays don't understand dating. In the 90s, 2000s, we had to approach someone and not know if they were single or if they were even found us attractive, and it was high failure rate. Now swipe. What's wrong with being a 7? There's nothing wrong with being a 7. 7's actually always a tricky number on I don't know if you've ever heard of this on a rating scale. It's like if someone's thinking, you go, on a scale of 1 to 10, whether that's how good a strawberry is this on a scale of 1 to 10, I don't know if that's a good analogy.
We got you.
Right?
Yeah.
7 just means like, I don't want to say 6.
You're right at
but
that
they're not
level.
an 8. Yeah.
Right.
Because an 8's 80%. 8, 9, 10s are like, highest ones.
Mm-hmm. But 6s, you're kind of lumping them in with the 5s, right? 4s.
I think with looks, there's a certain, level of people. First of all, it's, people are attracted to different things. We talked about that before, but if someone really goes to town on their clothes and their look and everything and does everything right, and now you got people doing Botox and things like that. I mean, people that are in their 30s and their 20s do Botox, which, surprises me. But these kinds of things change looks.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before.
Yeah, change looks totally.
Mm-hmm.
Odd Carlo from Norway who wants to move to Texas randomly. I had a female who let me on for over 8 months, trying to reach out, seeking for forgiveness. Is it a good reason to let them in? I would need to know more to the story. Here's the interesting thing about that Odd Carlo. And let me know if I can call you Carlo, because I don't like calling you Odd. But you're acting like you had no power in the situation to realize 4 months in that she was leading you on, or you don't want to play that game anymore. I mean, was it really manipulative, or are you believing what you want to believe? Right? Because I mean, I haven't been led on before for 8 months, because if it was a month that I felt like I was being led on, then I would just be like, okay. So why are you being led on? Is she highly attractive and you want to stay in that game? That's what my guess is. She's highly attractive and you just are like, you have no other options, or you're infatuated with her. Why would you? Did you just find out after 8 months, oh, I'm being led on, or have you been knowing for 2, 3, 4 months? And it's confusing, trying to reach out, seeking for forgiveness. I'm confused. I need to know more of your story. You want to call in, Odd Carlo? I'd love to get a call from Norway. I mean, those numbers are validated by peers. It was different time, different place. Keep in mind, most of us, including myself, came from a life where we didn't understand women. In the end, the skills I learned helped me become more confident. As a result, get a better job, make better friends, help more people. Wow. So if you want to become a better person, start with pickup artistry. If you want to change the world in a first small step, start by becoming a 10 out of 10. 10 makeouts.
10 numbers.
10 numbers. Great story. We're going to have to sell that one to Disney. Man grows up in Ottawa, becomes a pickup artist, gets a good job, changes the world.
Changes the world.
Knowing her for 3 or 4 months. What is she seeking forgiveness for? That's what I'm curious about. You're saying she's seeking forgiveness. What is she seeking forgiveness for? That's where I don't have enough of the story, my friend. I will take a call in today too. Mad Inventor, if you want to call in. You don't sound like you have a situation. Mad Inventor's got it sewed up, man. Huh? This guy, I mean, what would you see? Mad Inventor, is there an approach you're following, like Corey Wayne or Red Pill or any of these things? I'm just curious, but you got it sewed up. I only date highly attractive, fit, slim women. Personality second. I like it, man. Sure, man.
But at least you know, like.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. I like that. Right? How many times have you met up with friends and they're like talking about some girl they're dating or something like that, and they're going on, someone just sent me a thing and she's a smoke show. You ever heard that one before?
Yeah.
I've never heard that one before.
But usually that's like older.
She's a total smoke show. I like that. Right? Like she's smoking, right? And then they're like picture, or you meet the girl and they're like, this is her?
This is the smoke show? All right.
Are they lying or letting me on for such a long period of time? By the way, I want to live in Texas, either San Antonio or Houston. I heard good things about Houston. San Antonio, I think, is more... Honestly, I don't know much about both of them, but I've heard Houston's growing faster and more rapidly. But I think that's pretty random that a Norwegian wants to move to Texas. But you know what? Go for it, man.
There's a lot of people out there that are moving to Texas.
I've known her since we were kids, and she's been leading you on for 8 months. Ball busting in full force today, Mac. I only do it with people that I know can take it. When I was younger, I had no
That's the Mac we love. Come on.
So tell me how you got your start. Tell me where life changed. It's when I became a pickup artist and I did 10 makeouts in a night. Then I started working for a charity.
I pinpointed it to that one night.
I started at OnlyFans and I dedicated 50% to starving children in the forest. I mean, here's where it gets lost, Odd Carlo. Like I said, I'll send you an email right now. We'll have you as a call in. Like, what was lied about counts.
Oh, yeah.
What was lied about counts. What you want counts. Why would she be begging for forgiveness?
Yeah, what was the forgiveness? That's what I'm interested in.
Why are you spending time on her? Is she worth spending the time on? Like, do you see something? You know what I mean? It's like, this is where you should still be dating some other women right now. You know, the problem with when there's wreckage on the road is how it starts. It's hard to just erase that. So if someone's like, let's say you start dating this woman, you're highly attracted, you have some good intimacy. Let's just go with Matt Inventor's approach of, you know, she's petite, she's slim, and her personality is subpar, whatever.
She's a smoke show.
She's a smoke show, right? Okay. Totally fine, right? Then she lies to you. You find out she's been, hooking up with a guy from work, all this other stuff. And then you're like, she's, begging for your forgiveness. She said they only made out. She has all these stories about it. You get back together, but that never goes away. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? If it started, like, it never, like, just disappears if it started that way.
Or it goes away, like, until something
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like I said, going back to, like, when you have a job, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say you get a job, you work at the golf shop, you're working with all these people, right? You're at the pro shop. The first week you're there, some guy's an asshole to you, right? He's an asshole. He's like, hey, man, shine my fucking balls, man. Shine my fucking balls. And you're like, what? Excuse me? You're like, yeah. And he drops all his golf balls in front of you. And he's like, do you know who I am? I'm the fucking, I've won the fucking cup, for the tournament here. And all this. And you're just like, what? You're never going to like that guy. You can meet that guy, 2 or 3 months later with your friend, and he could be nice to you, and you're like, oh, this is Todd, he's cool, and you're like, fucking asshole, right? Because that's how he started. Now, if you start with someone and you've known them for 6 months, 8 months, a year, and they do a bad thing later on, then you're like, this is out of character.
Because they have the track record of being good.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, when you start with someone bad, it's hard to get that taste out of their mouth. Right? It's like it won't. Now they've got you typecasted. Now, like I said, someone's with someone for 5 years and they cheat. You're gonna be like, well, for 5 years you've been loyal.
So you've built up a
it's totally different than when if they've started out lying. Then you're like, dude, this is just part of your character. You couldn't even put on a fucking show for a little while.
Right.
So even if there's no real hints of attraction, you should still shoot your shot, even with all the history. All right, good question. Percy Blue, thank you for asking. Questions are good. Who, unfortunately, okay. Yeah, take the shot. Take the shot because you don't have anything to lose. It's better than trying to create attraction by being passively aggressive, by being passively flirtatious, right? Here's the thing. Here's a real interesting way to look at it. Well, the great Clutch knows more than I do about pickup artistry, like that kind of stuff. But there's a lot to be said about basic attraction. All right, and basic attraction would be a woman just doesn't like you. Like, is repulsed by you, like you're around them and they have like no attraction to you. You could just kind of feel it. Then there's neutral, where just a neutral kind of way about it. And then there's some women that, like, you're like, I can tell she likes me, she's smiling a lot. Now all these could be wrong in certain circumstances, right? It's like, again, we live in a tropical paradise, right? Guess what? There's a lot of hotels here. There's a lot of customer service. Service mind is what they call it here. So all these guys are like, wow, she likes me. It's like, no, she's a receptionist at a fucking hotel, dude. She's married with 3 kids.
She smiles to everybody.
Yeah, you're not special, right? Right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so you understand what I mean. Now, another thing about this attraction thing. Neutral. It's like neutral. I don't think she's really, if you're, depending on how positive or how much confidence you have in yourself, you're like, she's not really interested, I'm not even going to try. Neutral is just like, show me your tricks. How am I going to be impressed by you? How are you going to, that's where a game might come in, right? If a woman's just interested in you, which there's women that will be, and Petty Betty's on deck, Rye Flint's on deck, right? They could be interested in you, and depending on their personality, a woman could be interested and not want to make eye contact because she's so shy. Mm-hmm. A woman could be interested in you and stare at you and make it quite obvious, but they're both interested in you. So the neutral one, you're going to shoot your shot, but you're going to have to maybe do something that's a clever line or conversation or these kinds of things, right? Now, getting back to the attraction part, think about what you're good at, right? If you're good at, what's that smile for, V?
I was just reading some of the comments. Continue, go ahead.
Right? Like what are you good at, in the sense that, like, if you guys went out, right? Are you a good cook? Are you a good singer? Are you a good dancer? Are you good? How are you gonna have a good date? But if a woman's completely not interested, a lot of times someone would say, oh, you don't even have a chance. She could just be having a bad day. She could just be on her period. She could have just lost her dog. Those are all the things. Here's the thing. Any of those ones where you quote unquote shoot your shot, ask her out, it's never a loss. Mm-hmm. It's just a discovery mission of the truth. And that's fine. And here's the thing. Here's the biggest thing. And Clutch, tell me what you think, because you're an expert on this stuff, right? To me, especially if you have a history with a woman and she had some kind of attraction to you, there's always a possibility. But one thing that gets lost, if you ask a woman out and you handle the rejection well, that's attractive. If you're like, okay. And then she sees you out with other women in the future, or you get on with your life, that's attractive. Mm-hmm. So you don't really have a loss there. You don't lose. Like, are you worried about losing face or being embarrassed? No. Sometimes you can be wrong. I've had one of my girlfriends, I would say the first time I met her, I didn't think she had any interest. And she would, like, looking back, talking to her, she was just having a really bad day. She wasn't interested in anyone. But she was zero attraction, zero flirtation. And you know what I did after that? I ignored her and I talked to her friends all the time. Now that's a different, I would flirt a little bit, and that got her attention a little bit. But we had a lot of things in common, and later on things worked. But if I would have went on that first interaction, I'd be like, oh my God, she didn't like me. Mm-hmm. But I didn't care, because to me, you don't like me, it's fine. Mm-hmm. It's okay. Mm-hmm. What, you know, not everyone's attracted to everyone. It's timing sometimes. I meet girls everywhere. I don't go out looking for example, I'm at a restaurant and there's someone I find interesting. I simply say hi and see how it goes. Same for gym, supermarket, etc. Well, good for you, man. You're a man of the people. Yeah. You should run for office, dude. What that's good. I'm the same way. I meet a lot of people very easily myself. Mm-hmm. What if you asked the one-on-ones, but there's always an excuse for not meeting? For example, I didn't invite the girl for a walk at our lake, but she didn't feel up for it that day. Well, it was just that day, and you just leave it alone. Don't read into it like, oh, she doesn't like me, she doesn't want that. If she didn't want to, she's like, oh, I don't want to do it today, say, yeah, all right, no problem, just leave it alone.
But if there's always an excuse, like it's happened multiple times?
But there's always an excuse for not meeting.
Always.
Well, then stop asking, yeah.
Right.
Then I would say, yeah, that's your cue to stop asking. You can ask them out once or twice, and that's it. And if they say no, they're not interested, don't call them back again and just move on. That's fine. Why would you keep asking her? I don't have a mission to meet girls. If it happens, it's good. It's not. It's also good because I have my hobbies and work to keep me interested. Yes, I made sure my life is good without anyone. I'm a very social person, though. I love people intersections. Good for you. Where are you at in the world, Mad Inventor? I want to see B's face. We're starting a GoFundMe.
Mm-hmm.
So
if
that's
you'd like to send in.
That's what we're going to do.
We'll drop the link in the comments.
50% goes to charity. B won the cup. B's.
I have won a few.
I knew he was going to say that. I knew he was going to say that. That's why I lined that up for him.
Uh-huh.
He actually, the movie Tin Cup.
Mm-hmm. Loosely.
I was just going to say that's your idol. Not that it was based on your story.
That's my, yeah.
What's the guy's name in the movie?
Roy something, I forget. Roy, I think is his name.
Lay up.
No, I like Cheech in that movie. His caddy? Yeah.
What's B stand for? I'll let him decide if he wants to tell you his real name.
Brendan.
Wow.
There we go.
Watch out. Petty Betty's. She's dangerous. 10-second rule. Take the shot, approach, and don't hesitate. The worst thing she can do is reject you versus spending all night regretting your interaction. That's actually great advice. It is.
Yeah.
I always tell people go on bad dates. It's a good story to tell.
You always say that, yeah.
I always say that, dude. Just go on some bad dates, dude. And don't go into the date like maybe Clutch has an opinion on this. I have a few clients that have read the Corey Wayne book and said they have to score the first. I didn't know this was in the book. They have to score the first date. Like they have to go for, like this guy was like, it was a good date, but we didn't hook up. She's not like
okay.
She's not like that.
Right.
She's not like that. So I don't know if I should date her again. I'm like, what do you mean? I don't know if I should date her again. She's not like that. She won't just hook up on the first date, and I have it in my head that I have to. I'm like, are you? To me, I'm like, well, a lot of the good women, quote unquote, there's a lot of good women out there that would maybe have it a rule that maybe they don't hook up for 3 or 4 dates. Those are the ones that you make girlfriends sometimes. I'm not saying that you have to do that, but you know what I mean? It's like, it definitely wouldn't be something where I'd look at it like, nah, I don't want to date. It's like, why would you follow that rule if you were still interested in her? Go out on a date again. I've been seeing a girl for close to a year, but I can't commit. I don't know what to do about that either. There's a lot of aspects she brings to the table, but she's not her. It's like my logic goes out the window when it comes to her. Well, bottom line is, yeah, you're infatuated, and you have this ideal of this individual that you've been chasing for a long time, so you don't know anything else. And the girl you see now, you're probably just honestly something about her. It's like I've dated women before and friends are like, dude, she's cool. What's wrong? It's like, I don't know. Just not like, there's some things that bother me. Now that I'm a coach, I could fucking check mark like it's this, and this. It's what I fucking do. Yeah. But there's something about that girl that you're seeing. It has nothing to do with the other girl. It's just more about something small. You know? So moral of the story, date more other women, and you still, and the ironic thing is, by dating other women, you'll become more attracted to this one. If the girl likes you, she'll make it easy for you. I think that's one of the cleanest good compliments that you can give, but here's the thing. Women are so moody that they'll make it easy for you at different times of the month. Different times of their life. That's the part that you don't, right? If a girl really, really likes you, yeah. But she could be having a bad day or in a bad mood, and you're like, oh, okay. And a week later, she's all, she's in a better mood. Mm-hmm. The weight of my heart is through my stomach. I don't even want to respond to that. It's something the rapper Lil' Kim would say.
You're just dirty. Why are you being dirty? Come on.
V's uncomfortable.
No, you just. Come on.
It becomes a question of this. Why would that be dirty?
What you said? You said the rapper. I think I know what you're talking about there. Jesus.
Whatever happened to her?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know.
Female rappers don't age well, huh? Would you ever, like, is she even around anymore, Lil' Kim? I mean, she came on the scene hard, man.
Oh, yeah.
It becomes a question of this deep issue or just a bad day. When people are young, they tend to put up with the red flags. The older we get, the more flags we learn to not ignore. Absolutely. The thing for you, Percy, is that get out of the movie, you know, that you're in, and think to yourself, like, take a break for a moment and go, what if, journal this out. What if I stop trying? What if, instead of using the word let it go, change the narrative? What if I just give this a break for 2 months and not try at all and come back to it when I want to? Change the narrative a little bit. Because a lot of times people that are infatuated, they can't let it go. They're scared to let it go because they're like, wow, I don't want to, this is something I've been wanting my whole life.
Right.
I've been trying to move on with my life. Stop trying and do it. But it doesn't have to be about you moving on with your life. See how the narrative is so much bigger? I'm going to just move on with my life. How about this? Just stop contacting her for 1 month. Stop contacting her for 1 week, and don't make it about maybe she misses me, maybe she likes me, maybe I did something wrong. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying and just commit to, I'm not going to talk to her for a month. And if she reaches back out and we have a conversation, that's fine. Or for you, because I know your situation a little bit, just move. I know once you move, because I know you're interested in moving, just move and you'll get away. Because this is a hometown crush. This is a hometown crush, and it's been so long you don't know what else to think about it. But when you get out of that realm and everything's new, and you move to a new town, a new city, a new place, there's not going to be any hometown crushes, and you won't. And the thing about a hometown crush, it's from high school, it's from grade school, or one of these things. It's different because you've been yearning for it for so long. It seems so much more special, but then you move somewhere else. There's no evidence of that, and it'll change the game. I went, and honestly, you can't, like, the girl that you're dating now, that's not a problem with you. You're just not that interested in her. But you can meet another one that you're interested in. I went on 3 dates with this guy and never heard from him again after the third date. LOL. What? It means I love to eat. You think dirty.
Yeah.
I still don't think that means I love to eat.
Yeah, you've never heard that?
What?
The weight of my heart's like through my stomach.
Oh, to me that just sounds like you're using him.
No, that means
I went on 3 dates with this guy, never heard from him again after the third date. What? It means I love to eat.
Two separate. They're not connecting.
They're not connected?
No, those ones.
Oh, I thought they were connected.
No. She was saying what she was saying from the previous comment. Yeah, like make some good food and you got me.
I don't believe that for Petty Betty. I think she's just trying to keep it PG. That's all right. That's all right. Little wolf in sheep's clothing. I was talking about that. I went on 3 dates with this guy and never heard from him again after the third date. So, maybe he wasn't interested? People get so hung up on this, dude. You ghosted me. Why? It seemed like they were into me. It's like, c'est la vie. Keep your life fun and everything tends to be easier. Words to live by, huh? Live where people go on vacation. That's one that I go by. Heard I'm saving to move. I took a break and never heard from her. Heard. I'm saving to move now. I took a break and never heard from her. What then? You want to know what I really think? Like, as my client told me yesterday 5 times, I want to be honest with you. I'll tell you, I'm going to be honest with you.
Please be honest.
Percy, you want me to tell you the truth? Imagine I'm like the wisest person, you know, like it's Harry Potter and I'm the wizard. Harry, you're a wizard. Like, right?
That was good. Yeah.
Harry, you're a wizard. All right. I'm just pausing for dramatic effect here. Okay? Because this is going to be important. As if, and this is what's really interesting because, you know, it's like Dr. Phil. It's like if Dr. Phil was on the show right now and he was answering Percy.
He was just on Rogan, by the way.
Yeah, Dr. Phil, like it'd be like, it's Dr. Phil.
Yeah.
He's got 25 years experience. Oprah likes him. He's got some books. I'm going to listen to him. Mm-hmm. Consider it like whoever you madly respect. I'm going to give it to you straight because I have some insight on this. I don't know if you're ready to hear it, though. The reason you're not attracting this girl is not because she doesn't like you or she's not interested in you. It's because you still haven't really grasped how attraction works. And just like you're thinking like, oh, it's about her. She needs to make the moves. You still don't understand how it works. And you think it's like, well, it's just unique to this situation and her, and it's about me and her. It's like, no, your attraction dynamics as far as like why women like men and men like women is all messed up. And you're acting like the woman a little bit more. And that can work if it's a dominant woman and you want to be a doormat, if that's how it is. And if you are in a relationship and you find one of those women, they'll love this approach where you're like everything's in her favor and this and that. Mm. But really, this woman, your approach where you're like, I've liked her for years, all this, it's pity seeking. It's a little bit feminine, and she's not attracted to that. Now, she feels safe with you. You're familiar. She has some attraction for you, but you need to actually probably, before you got her, probably date other women to get back to this game, if that makes sense to you. Because you're coming at it from a schoolboy crushes place, and now you're a man in his 20s and it's not cute. It's not attractive. But when you were in high school, it was like it's a different game you were playing. Does that make sense? And you think it's like, oh, it's just her. No. So I would say, like I was saying earlier in this live stream, how you start things, it's hard to overcome that. It's hard to overcome that. And so you have all these different things. Start dating other women and getting better with attraction dynamics, making first moves, gaining some confidence. And then if you came back around on this woman, you'd be in a much better place. But where you're at right now, just a dog chasing his tail, hoping, wishing, trying. It's not about letting her go. It's about meeting other women and challenging yourself to do that. Because right now, you've known her for so long, including, I believe, high school. And you were such a different person then. But that's all mixed in. That's all mixed into your relationship. And so when you make acts or you make gestures, she has so much on her mind about who you are and what you do. Even if you became some masculine, outgoing guy, like came this person, she'd be like, nope, you're still the guy from high school that always had a crush on me. You're typecasted. Does that make sense? Now, the good thing is, I know you. I've done coaching with you. I wouldn't even say you have potential. You're not a mediocre person. You're already there. You just don't know it. And you got to get out on your own and challenge yourself. You got to challenge yourself. And this is a big issue with a lot of people in their 20s right now. They just want to figure out the shortcut. Like, what do I have to say to get them? It's like it doesn't work that way. right? Even a Clutch here who used to be in PUA, it's like you had to fail a lot, right? You had to fail a lot, and there's nothing that's going to work, right? But the biggest thing you could do is date a variety of women, go on bad dates, get rejected a little bit more. So then when you hang out, you don't give a fuck. Because right now you give a fuck way too much. And that's what it's going to take. It's not reworking the situation you're in. It's dating other women and getting more practice. And the woman that you're dating right now that you like and you're hooking up with and it's fine, you're just not that into her. You're not ready. She's not the one, whatever you want to call it. That's okay. But still date some other women. Get some more practice. Understand attraction. And then when you're around this woman, you won't be so needy, clingy, and, oh, I hope this works. Oh, if I do this, maybe she'll do this. You're waiting on bated breath, and it's just not attractive. A woman likes to be challenged a little bit, or a high value woman, right? And she knows when you have options and when you don't. If you should be the one. You should be the one that has shit to do. You guys meet up. Oh, I have another bar to go to. Not her. Not her. You should already have that in her back pocket. And to be honest, if I was in a situation where I met up, like this story earlier, right, where the guy's out with the mom and they're doing karaoke and all that stuff, I probably wouldn't do it because I'm not really a good singer. But if we were all out doing that,
you had some drinks,
right? Yeah. And I liked that particular woman, and she didn't really have a lot of interest in me, or she was being neutral. Mm-hmm. I would look to give another woman in that sphere a lot of attention in front of her, and I would ignore her. That's attraction 101. Or someone would be like, oh, that's mean. That's not what I want to do. No. That's how it works. One of her friends, I'm not saying you're going to leave with her friend or anything, but I would spark up a conversation with a friend. I wouldn't focus on her at all. Actually, I would ignore her. Not in an asshole way, but like, and that's how it works. Are you a good kisser, B? She asked.
Me or the story?
Go on bad dates and have fun. Yeah, this all makes sense. I'm just saying, bud. Like, that's your answer. And a lot of times you're stuck in a place where you think you're just trying the same thing over again. You just got to rework the whole situation, but. And women can smell it on you when you have other options. They can smell it on you. And when you're not, and you're kind of on bated breath, there's some women that like that, and they're usually the ones that are going to use you or are highly insecure.
But they can sense that too. When you're not, seeing other women or whatever, they can sense that.
It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sixth sense.
Yeah.
It's like I've talked to clients before. It's like it'll start coming in bunches. It's not by accident. If you want a voice on this talk, we can. You talking about right now? You want to call it 2 hours, 17 minutes. I don't know how much longer I can go. Mad Inventors in Athens. Okay, yeah, sure. Wow. That's why you're such a philosopher. All right. That's great, man. I'd love to go to Athens one day. Greece.
Might be, there's an Athens, Georgia, too. I don't know if that's Georgia.
I'll let him clarify that. Maybe I'm jumping to some conclusions here.
Yeah, you might be.
I mean, I thought there was only one Athens. Sorry, I don't know Georgia.
See?
That's funny. Petty Betty lives in Georgia part-time.
Well, that's what she just commented.
Right.
There you go.
She said, yeah, B. Attraction is very usual. He's kissing his hand right now, checking it out. Attraction is very visual. If you look good, people will be drawn to you more easily. For men, working out is almost a must. If you look like shit, you will attract something similar. Great point, man. Mm-hmm. Simple, I mean, that's true. Mad Inventor, let me just get your take on this. What do you think about the height thing right now? You're in Greece. Have you heard about this on the internet? Like that,
The 6 foot?
the 6 foot thing? Guys have less of a chance. It is Greece, see? It was Greece.
Yeah, you're right.
He's from Greece. I've actually had multiple clients that are Greek.
Really?
Yeah. Very smart people, very intelligent. Man, we didn't even get to the other stuff that I had here.
What do you have on deck? What do you got?
Maybe I'll save this. This is kind of long-winded. It was an email that we talked about a rebound a few live streams ago. And I don't know, the guy basically, well, she has problems. She's with a new guy, but he went. Remember, I was like, well, what's the problem? Well, what's the problem? Like you keep.
Yes.
What's the problem? What happened in the breakup? What's the problem? And he didn't get to the problem, and he wrote it out, and he was like, he actually said, you ripped me a new one, but I needed it. And it was kind of funny because after I did that, I was like, you know what? I kind of feel bad because sometimes people, it's anonymous, which makes it easier to be honest. But to me, it was so blatant that it was, let me send you in this one-sided story of my ex left me, my ex broke up with me, and she's with someone new, and she's really insecure. It's like, well, what happened? Why did you really break up? It's just frustrating when you read something like that and you ask me for help. So
this is a little more detailed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he writes, just watched the live stream where you ripped me a new one, but that was what I needed to hear. Thanks for that. Sincerely mean it. Well, thanks for saying thank you. I understand where I went wrong, but I was only doing what I thought my ex wanted me to do. Now let's think about that for a minute. From hindsight, you think, well, that's a good thing. It's not, because you're not being authentic. You're doing what your girlfriend wants you to do. Do you have a leash also and a choker collar? My ex in the beginning of your relationship told me she was worried that I would see her as damaged because of her past and wondered how I could love her. All right, so someone would say, oh, that's not a red flag. You need to be sympathetic and open. It's like, well, have you ever dealt with someone like that? Now, this is what I'm going to guess. This is just a hypothesis. He was highly attracted to her, so he overlooked this because if he wasn't that attracted to her, you're like, oh, wow, this is dramatic. And it might be true. But here's what guys do. They go, okay, that's fine with me. It's like, damaged? That's okay. We can work through that.
We're good, yeah.
Would you like another glass of wine? That's why I added the low self-esteem comment, because she would say those things to me. My ex's mom would say stuff to my ex about her lack of confidence. My ex's?
Her mom would say stuff to his ex.
Would say stuff to my ex about her lack of confidence being unattractive. Okay, I was a little confused there. So the mom has built her character to be insecure. Anyways, I understand how that came off in my email, but I would never talk bad about my ex like that or bad about her in general. She's pretty dang special. Basically, at the end of the day, my ex told me she broke up with me because if her mental health, physical struggles, and that she was in a bad place in her life, she was a pretty dark history with mental health. All right, so this is very common. So there's a problem there. It's like from the get-go, she had mental health issues. Extremely broad flag to fly. But if you never had mental health issues or you had no experience with it, then you're just going into a minefield. That's why I didn't want to put those comments in my original email. Anyhow, when I found out about my ex talking to a new guy, I realized everything I was told was a lie. That's not true. She could still have mental health problems and be with a new guy, which means I had to do some internal digging on why we broke up, and I found out that my ex didn't feel like I was supportive of her feelings and goals. Well, people with mental health would probably come up with a narrative like that. I know, or mental health problems. I know that I wasn't perfect and I have a strong personality. I now realize some things that shouldn't have been said. Nothing bad. I never ever yelled or made a major or had a major disagreement at all. So here, I never had a major disagreement at all. That's actually a turnoff for some women. It's okay to get in arguments. it's just that that eating disorders and mental health are a challenge to navigate in a relationship. Well, that's a newsflash. Are a challenge to navigate in a relationship. If you don't know anything about them, and unfortunately I did not know any. So you didn't mention earlier the eating disorder. So that eating disorder and mental health, I did not in any word. I would say get twisted, and they did. I honestly thought we were good because all my ex ever told me was, I love how encouraging you are. You've helped me so much. I don't deserve you. All right, that's a big one. I don't deserve you. So these are, I mean, this is good. You're giving more insight to it. So that's why I thought that she liked when I tried to encourage her and help her with her issues. She never told me otherwise, which is why I was so confused if I had known that she needed a different kind of support, or if she told me exactly how she needed me to support her. I would have done that. So basically, you have aspirations to do what she wants, what's best for her. And in the meantime, you're supposed to know how to deal with these things, these mental health issues. I just had no idea. So accept the fact that you had no idea, and the fact that the new guy she's with probably aren't going to have much of an idea. That's where I went wrong. I don't think you went wrong, assuming that I knew how to help her when I had no clue. And I don't blame her for not telling me because she was afraid that I would see her as needy. Communication was not good, but in my opinion, that is something that can be fixed with honest discussions. If that ever happens, who knows? So you still want to fix this. She's with another guy. She has mental health issues. She has eating disorders. You still don't get it. Like I said, I'm staying in no contact for the future, for the encouragement to just do that. I'm currently talking to another woman who is my age and the same. Guess I should have mentioned that my ex is almost 5 years younger than me. 21, I'm 26. Anyhow, we'll see how things go with the new girl. Maybe I'll realize she is actually much better. I mean, 21 years old with mental health issues. Maybe I'll realize and I'm not saying that without compassion or anything like that. I'm just saying what you're mentioning here is like, well, we could have just had some honest discussions. No, not really. See how things go with the new girl. Maybe I'll realize she's actually a much better match for me than my ex. I really don't know. I was just so mad at myself, and I've been unable to forgive myself for not realizing or seeing what I could have done differently. You know what's interesting is people come away out of mental health relationships with more mental health for themselves. I'm starting to believe that if you're with someone with mental health issues, look out, it's contagious. My friends and family keep telling me that there are two people in a relationship she could have communicated with me. I don't think this was a communication thing. I think this was a mental health thing. She says, I don't deserve you. And you go, oh, that's just a throwaway statement. No, it's not. That's not a statement in a healthy relationship. That's someone that's extremely insecure, that when they're in a really good relationship where they're supported, they're uncomfortable. They're unworthy. And you're like, oh, if we had honest communication, we could overcome that. Not really. That's something way deeper than you. But I expect better of myself. That's why it's hard to forgive myself and move on. I should have been better, but I had no clue to be better. So this is your classic, oh, if I would have worked harder, if I would have made all the right moves, if I would have done this, that, and no. Let's go back to basketball, B, for a minute. It's like we've played many games in our lives. We didn't play for the same team or the same place. But you play a game and you're like, fuck, man. Did everything right, and we still fucking lost. It's like you're looking back and you're like, could have done this. Honest communication would have won the day with eating disorders, mental health, someone that says they don't deserve a good relationship, the mom's making her insecure. Not really.
That's a lot.
Yeah, dude. You're 26, she's 21. She's still finding herself.
And 21 anyways is already like
she ended up in a new relationship right away.
Yeah.
And you're like, I could have done things different. Like I said, the mental health thing, it's real. Totally, totally fine with that. But the idea that you did something wrong, there's no playbook on mental health relationships. I don't know of one. You could be the diagnoser. Oh, they're attachment theory, XYZ. Oh, they have this disorder. Could. It doesn't take away the fact that if you don't have the same problems, like I said, what'll happen is if you get in that relationship, you'll start enabling them to be that way. People that identify with that stuff, they don't let it go because they're in a healthy relationship. She's got to get some therapy and figure it out. Sometimes people are just assholes. You could have done everything right and have it fail. Given when it happens, those breakups suck.
Yeah.
All girls have a eating disorder. So the classic Petty Betty. All girls do what Petty Betty does. Not really. And this is what YouTube is now. All men do this because I do it. All women do this because I do it. It's like, not really. You know? Not all women have an eating disorder, no. I've been on a diet since high school. Not every woman. I mean, what would you classify as a diet, right? Like, some people just watch it.
Yeah. Just watch what you eat.
Yeah, like, my mother's not a slim woman, but she's not like obese, overweight. Yeah, obese, right? But her two sisters are pretty heavy. And my mom, when she was a little kid, was fat, she said, and teased a little bit. And her grandma put her on a diet when she was like a little kid. And my mom's not on a diet, but my mom just watches it. But she doesn't eat like an anorexic. Or something. You know what I mean? She'll, wherever you have dinner, but she won't eat a lot in her big portions, or she won't pig out on food. She watches it. She's in no way, like I said, slim, but in no way overweight. But I wouldn't call it a diet. But that being said, that just shows anecdotal evidence of our sphere of influence, right? We're like, oh, my mom did this. Oh, my friend did this. It's true of everyone.
It's funny. My mom does the same thing, and I think her mom is a little bit bigger as well, like you said, and I think it just is the same, you know? Just connected that way.
It's like people that don't have eating or weight problems, everyone goes, oh, you just have a high metabolism. Could be. I mean, the mitochondria and all that stuff. Like, I've never had a weight problem in my life. I also exercise a lot, extremely active. So, but then you have like Rick Rubin. If you ever seen a podcast with him, he had a huge weight problem, was a vegan his whole life. And couldn't shed the weight till he, you know what I mean? So.
Interesting.
All girls have an eating. Mac, you nailed it when you simply said, don't give a fuck. This is when you tend to get what you want. This is what I meant by staying partially unattached. Well, in order for him to not give a fuck, he has to have other options. That's just the way it works, right? You're in the desert. You're thirsty. There's no water, right? That water is going to be so fucking coveted. It's going to be so delicious. It's going to be so amazing, right? But if you're not in the desert,
it's everywhere.
And there's water everywhere. And someone's like, hey, man, did you want a water? You're like, yeah, not right now. I just had some. That's exactly how you are when you go into this, this relationship where you're like, I can't shake this. I got to let her go. It's like, she's not water in the desert. You're just creating a narrative where you're in the desert looking for water. When in reality, you live in a major city. You got a lot of shit going. Because I know Percy Blue. You got a lot of shit going for you. You got all these things, and you're just blind. Because you're like, no, this thing's so valuable. It's so valuable. Not really. Not really. It's only valuable in the context that you value in it. Values are an interesting thing. It used to be just based on things that were useful. Right? Think about that. It's like baseball cards. I talked about this before. How are baseball cards useful? Everyone just agrees that they're rare and special. But at some point, if shit goes down and like there's an earthquake in your town and there's floods and everything, your baseball cards go down the river, you're not going to really give a fuck. They weren't really useful. Right? This is what happens when people are in natural disasters. Like they had a major tsunami in Phuket. It's like wiped away the whole city. Like you're valuing a woman that you had a crush on for a long time, that you've been longing, that you've been stringed along here, there, and there, and you somehow think it's valuable. But the reality is there's women all around you. I've said that too. If you enter a relationship to fix someone, if you're not careful, you will inherit their issues. Yeah. I'm starting to, like, the last couple of years, like, the average of the 5 people you hang out with. Think about how much you hang out with your partner. I mean, there's some interesting things. Like, did you know, B, that women that are roommates will end up having the same period.
Yeah, I have heard that before.
You heard that?
Yeah.
I didn't. That's interesting. It's supposed to be true. My mom was saying that my mom worked in a dental office, and there was like 2 other hygienists in there that were females, and she said they all lined up. I don't know how they had that talk at lunch or something, but like their menstrual cycles lined up by being around each other. I mean, that's supposed to be proven. I mean, I don't know about studies or anything. Like I've heard that repeatedly. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
When think about, like, when I go back to California and I hang out with certain groups of friends, sometimes I'll come back and I'll start talking different. I'll use different tones and words and different things. So it's, if you end up, I've had clients before that come out of breakups and you go like, do you think I'm bipolar? Who told you that? I gym twice a day. Excellent. I'm fasting right now.
Twice a day is. Oh.
How long are you fasting for? An hour or 2? How long are you fasting for, Petty Betty?
Intermittent. Could be intermittent fasting.
I've never heard about the height thing. See? This is really interesting in Athens, Greece, right? This is a huge thing right now. I don't know if it's just an American thing or just people that go to a certain places in YouTube. Huge theme. And one of my clients right now is telling me that he's talking to his therapist, and the therapist's like, "What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Like red pill and all this thing?"
Or maybe it's just that if you're over 6, why would you think about it? But if you're like, if you have, do you know what I mean?
No, you know what's interesting about that? Clients I've had that are 6'2", 6'3", they're like, I do really well with women in dating. I'm 6'2", I'm 6'4". They always
They use it as a...
And I'm on Zoom, so I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't know that I'm 6 foot, right? Or I suppose some people look bigger, right? But you don't know their height.
No.
So 90 days today, actually. You haven't fasted for 90 days. That's such a lot. No water, no food. Just candles. 90 days with what? No, with what are you fasting? Like, you got to be eating something. That's funny. Mad Men are 6 foot, 6 pack, 6 figures. "90 days no food? And I lost the cup size? What's the benefits?" How is it fasting if you eat once a day? It's intermittent fasting.
Intermittent, yeah.
Okay, so just clarify that because it's different. It takes discipline to stay in shape. It's more important than effort. I don't always feel like going to the gym, but I do it because it's what I have to do. Rob, you're still on deck. He just comes in for an LOL on that one, huh? So I did 90 days of intermittent fasting. Didn't lose any weight, but I lost a cup size.
Maybe that was the goal.
Huh? Hope you had a cup size to lose.
Yeah.
That's funny because that and for women that want to gain a cup size, you can go just eat more, man. That's funny. Tell him I've been fasting. Oh, Rob knows. Rob knows about the cup size too, probably. Still, it's pretty pack.
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to lose that.
There you go. Well, then get off the fasting then.
I have 2 of the 6, LOL. Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. It's so funny though because someone will read that and they'll go, I don't have any of those. It's like, well,
Any of the 666?
what a bad number to glorify too. Even when you see that on someone's address, like a 666, it's like, didn't the person that owned the place, couldn't they put like 665.5 or something?
It's probably up to the city.
Fasting, downsizing, 1 cup size at Starbucks. Yeah, I'm on deck. I had to sleep. I have a trade show in the morning. Excellent.
Nice.
All right. Well, this has been good and grand. Actually, it's funny you brought up this dieting thing because I'm in contact with the dietitian that I'm gonna bring on the show. I think that'll be interesting for a lot of people that have these weight problems and different things. Mm-hmm. Seems to be a big issue for a lot. I just got 20 pounds. I want to get off. Mm-hmm. I just got 30 pounds. I want to get off. What would be the biggest shortcut that you think I would recommend if someone wanted to lose weight?
What would be the biggest shortcut?
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Sauna.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I would just say sauna. I mean, that's what they used to have kids do that were wrestling in high school and stuff like that.
Well, that's getting rid of water.
Sauna and ice water or just sauna. Mm-hmm. Someone's like, I don't have a sauna. Mm-hmm. They're actually, I think home saunas are not that expensive. To what you'd think they would be, like $2,000 or something like that. I'm not saying it's cheap, but
in the thousands for sure, yeah. Cut carbs.
Cut out the bread. Mm-hmm. It's different for different people, though. I think you got to get in touch with those things. But just like when people are like, "Oh, I got a lot of anxiety," it's like, "You exercise?" No, okay.
Well, it's probably. I mean, when you get down to it, it's probably like coaching. Like a more detailed. Like if you go see a dietitian that helps you understand your body and like.
Yeah, no. If you're like the guy that was just in here, right on Sloan for making an appearance late in the night. He's a fan of E40 also. Sloan, are you from the Bay Area or where are you from in the world?
E40? He's got to be from the Bay.
Oh, I know. I learned that from you, Rob. Oh, thanks, Petty Betty.
6 Bitcoins. Not 6 inches.
You know what? I learned that from you. Seattle.
Okay.
Home of the Sonics.
Who is
It's funny. I just saw a guy here, and that's a DJ over here, and he always has a Seattle Sonics jersey on. I'm like, you Kemp? A Sonics fan? It's like, yeah, I'm like
Kemp. Who is it?
Sean Kemp, yeah. But like a different one. I said, he's like, I'm like, you a Sonics fan? He's like, yeah, I'm like, but you're not from Seattle. He goes, no, New Zealand. I went to one of the last year the Sonics were on. I went to a game.
Was Durant there?
Durant's rookie year.
Yeah.
Durant's rookie year, yeah.
Peyton. There we go.
Gary Payton's actually from Oakland originally.
Where did he go to high school? Do you know?
I want to say Skyline, but I don't know. Headed to bed, working a few hours. Thank you for the advice. As always, take care, Percy Blue. Keep being you, my friend.
Right on, Percy.
Keep being you. And go on some bad dates.
Yeah.
Stop looking for water in the desert. I remember when Patrick Ewing, player of the song. Patrick Ewing wasn't on the Sonics,
wasn't he a lifer? Well, I thought he was a lifer on.
It's one of those things. Maybe he could have went there when his last year.
Just no one remembers or notices.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah. I gotta color my hair. Good night, Petty Betty.
I didn't know when I went to Seattle that one time that was the home of like Skid Row, like all that grunge music.
Yeah.
Skid Row. I was never into that music. Like
Nirvana.
Yeah, there's a whole area.
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, and this guy was like, we were on the
flannel. So got to wear the flannel shirts.
We were on the bicycle where they ride you around. I forgot what those are called. And he was like, oh, this is Skid Row. And I'm like, what? This is where Nirvana used to hang out, dude. It's like, yeah, man. It's like a lot of drugs around here, dude. It's like...
You didn't listen to any of that?
It's like, like this is like just a drug scene for years, man. It's like, cool, man. This is one I was looking for in Seattle. Just take me to the ball game, bro. Can we detour out of this? I don't like...
Just take me to the ball game.
I want to see an area where everyone's wrecked on fucking hard drugs. Oh, this is home of Nirvana, dude. It's like, yeah, man. It's like, yeah. It's like, nah, not in the mood, man. Right on.
experience.
went and saw the Niners play at Seattle. They got torched.
Correct.
That was years ago.
You gotta experience
All
the
right.
whole thing.
Wow. All right, if Petty Betty's off, I'm off. All right, folks, it's been good. It's been grand. If you got a story you want to send it in to writemac.com. It's only been 3 hours here, so I put in some time. Maybe we'll get a few super chats next time. I'll have my can on the street in the name of Skid Row, right? Instead of blue. Can I have some lunch money? Right on, Matt Inventor. I'm glad you rode for the full 2 hours or so, 3 hours. Petty Betty, thanks, Clutch. We'll definitely have you on, and we'll talk a little. We'll focus like for a full hour on having PUA as part of your life and becoming a better person because of it. I think that's an interesting.
The good, the bad, the ugly of the PUA.
We could turn it into an after-school special.
There you go.
Do you remember those?
Yeah. Yeah.
After-school specials?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be perfect. Rob IS.
Rye.
Rye Flint. Trudy Short.
Trudy. Yeah.
Another shrimp on the bob, eh? Eduardo Martinez. Let's see here. Odd Carlo.
Yeah, let's get a call in from Odd.
Odd Carlo would be
Odd
great.
Carlo,
I'd love
man.
to hear about Norwegian salmon.
Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking forward to?
Yeah.
The salmon.
Everybody's ready. All right, folks. Good night.
Night, guys.